What's good? What's good? Y'all know what it is, man. TBABT TMC, salute. What's good? Shadow 979, salute. What's shaking? Salute to my peopleizations, man. What's shaking? What's shaking with y'all? We got the number there. We'll be taking call-ins in a second. You know, just waiting for my brother Kurt Anderson to get on up in here, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar. We're going to talk about today Jay Cooley, Just Blaze, Jixon 1000, Joe Brown, Kelly Johnson, Kel C, Christopher West. Salute to my peopleizations, man. Ancestral Rays, G. Als, Easy Money 12217. Salute. My brother Kurt Anderson, a.k.a. Kurt Sugar. What's good with you, Kurt? Oh, I'm talking to Kurt and I ain't even add him to. What's going on with you, Kurt? I'm talking to you and you wasn't even in the screen.
Hey, what's going on, my brother Blue, man? How's your day, brother?
Chilling, man. What's going on with you on this beautiful day, man?
Not much, man. I was just getting some things together. I'm a little late, you know. I wasn't feeling well earlier. I had like a little stomach virus, man. I was just watching the Castillo and Corrales fight and, just chilling, man, and, get ready to talk boxing talk. Man. Good to see you as always, brother.
Yes, sir, man. We getting callers already. We ain't even start, man.
Oh man, the show is popping, man. Great show, man.
Yeah, we got the phones ringing already, man. We ain't even start the show, man. Just give us 1 second. Let's give us 1 second to start up the show, man. And we'll definitely invite have everybody in, man. Just give us 1 second to start the show, my peopleizations. You see that, Kurt, man? We ain't even get on topic or nothing yet, man. The people they want to build with us, man.
This is only our second show, man. An hour is going to be hard to do, but we go with a boxing goal, man, and we love the people's enthusiasm. So call in, support the show. We off to a rousing start.
Yep. Kurt, let's take this call. I'm gonna put him on mute. I'm gonna just tell him to give us a second. I don't know why it's not connected. What's your name? Where you calling from? Lost it? Yeah, we lost that call. Yeah, so let me salute the chat real quick, Kurt. Kenneth Johnson, salute. Barton South D-Town, salute. My brother CB Sports TV, salute. Aaron Alexander, salute. Brian Taylor, salute. What we got? Kelly Johnson, Jay Lee, salute. Dead Game Boxing, salute. What's good? Scrapbook Boxing. Scrapbook, what's shaking with you, man?
Scrapbook, my brother.
Yeah. B Megastar, bitch, what's shaking? Sheldon Holmes, what's shaking? Michael James, 616, salute. Zaza Brown, peace and blessings, Queen Grand Rising. We got Chico in the building, the real pit bull. WBC in the building. What's going on with you, Chico? Lou Hayton, what's good? Salute. Stallion Perez, salute. Kieran Alexis, salute. Rico Shaw, salute. Don Banks, salute. Hustler Slim, salute. What's good, my peoples, man? We in the building, man. Hold on, let's get this caller, Kurt. What's your name? Where you calling from? You there? Hey, you can hear me? Hello? You there? You gotta try to call back. I don't know why I can't hear you. What's your name? Where you calling from? Can't hear nothing, man. What's your name? Where you calling from? I don't know why it's not answering. Well, go ahead, Curry. Talk to the people while I try to figure this out real quick.
Hey, what's going on, chat? I was just looking at some old fights, Castillo and Corrales. And, people often tell me, Castillo and Corrales, that that's the best fight you ever seen. So I said no, because in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, that would have been like a regular fight on a regular card. Fighters like Bojack and Ike Williams and Jersey Joe Walcott and Ezra Charles, the Joe Jeanette versus Sam McVeigh fights where, McVeigh had Jeanette down multiple times. There was like, let me see, 27, 37. There was like 40 something knockdowns, 1909 in France. So the Castillo Corrales was a great fight. It is on my top 10 list as one of the greatest fights ever. Ike Padilla versus Leland Hardy. I was at that fight at the Garden. That was in 1989. There were small heavyweights. People forget about the Matthew Saad Muhammad fight with Richie Cates. Matthew Saad Muhammad versus Yaki Lopez at the Spectrum. Me and my father was there for that one in Philadelphia, and they had the rematch. And excuse me, and McAfee, New Jersey. That was the fight of the year, not Hearns and Leonard. That was the fight of the year. The uppercut that Matthew Saad Muhammad hit Lottie Mawali with, I thought he was going to take his head off. Great fights, man. Great fights. There was a fighter from Texas named Gene Mad Dog Hatcher who had a great left hook, almost Joe Frazier like. He was a junior welterweight. He fought for a championship on the undercard of Livingston Bramble and Ray Boom Boom Mancini. That was in Buffalo in '84. I remember that fight because I was on the verge of graduating. And on the undercard, you had Johnny Bump City Bumpers, a personal friend of mine, from Tacoma. He moved to Totowa, New Jersey to train with Lou Duva. He had a great skill set, but he had out of the ring problems, and he was winning that fight handily until he got caught with Gene's left hook, and it changed the course of the fight, and he wound up knocking Bumpers out and took his title. He fought an Italian contender. They had two fights. I believe his name was Abado Sacco. Look at those fights. A lot of people don't talk about that fight. I believe he was of Argentinian descent. His name was Obado Sacco versus Gene Mad Dog Hatcher 1 and 2. Gene Mad Dog Hatcher was a rough customer, and he could fight, white guy from Texas. You had tough white fighters, man. Randy Shields, who fought Hearns and Doug DeWitt, tough from Yonkers, New York, and Murray Sutherland, is from the UK. I was a big Murray Sutherland fan, and Shawn O'Grady, who wound up being an announcer of Tuesday Night Fights, and Jim Watt. That was boxing, man. I look at a lot of old fights, man, because, it's sentimental to my father. My father used to be like, what are you doing, boy? I'd be like, nothing. And he said, we're ready to go see Bobby Ches, so go get changed, and, we'll go up to Ice World. Ice World was a old roller ice skating rink that Lou Duva used to rent out, and he used to have boxing there. And Bobby Ches wound up being a breakout fighter, the in-house fighter. I became a big Bobby Ches fan, because he was a local fighter that I looked up to. Nice guy too. He used to be in Lou Duva restaurant. I used to work on the shipping docks in Totowa, New Jersey. And for lunch, we used to go to Lou Duva's restaurant, me and a couple of friends. And, you see the fighters in there. There was a Mexican fighter named Tony Ayala. Now, let me tell you about Tony Ayala. He was the Roberto Duran of that day. But Roberto Duran didn't like Tony Ayala. So they used to say, Roberto, he reminds me of you. And Duran used to say, he's not me. Maricon, he's not me. Never me. Duran was funny when he went into a rage, and always wanted to see that match. But Tony Ayala, he raped the girl and he went to jail. He came out and resumed his career after what, 10, 20 years? And he took on Yori Boy Campus. That was a terrific fight. That was on ESPN2. And he lost. Then he went back in jail for rape again. I believe he's still there. But, in those days, you could rub elbows with the fighters. They ain't get all sedity or whatever. They was just good people to talk to, So those are just stories that I just told you. Got everything straight, Blue?
Yeah, we got it all squared away, man. I don't know why we wasn't connected, but yeah, we definitely got everything squared away, man. I'm going to just salute the chat again real quick, then we can get it started. CRF, peace and blessings, Queen Grand Rising. Mark Wunderlich, salute. Treslin Patterson, salute. Oh, we got a caller already, Kurt. Kurt, we can't even get through introductions, man. Let's take the caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Scrapbook Boxing.
Scrapbook, what's good?
Scrapbook.
What's good with you, bro?
I'm good. I just had to call in and show some love, man. Y'all doing a good thing here. And any support I can give you, you got it, man, for real.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you guys, man. I guess I gotta ask a question, huh?
You listen, in this your world, we just a squirrel and trying to get a nut. That's it.
I ask you the question. And Blue, you can answer this also.
Okay.
Who do you think was the best announcer in the era in which they came? Was it Jimmy Lennon Jr. or was it who am I getting? Let me get another guy. I don't want to say Jimmy Lennon Jr. or
Michael Buffer?
No, I didn't want to say him. Let's do Michael Buffer. HBO. HBO and Showtime.
Man.
I wanted to say Johnny Yaddy and couldn't know who that is, but I'm not gonna say Johnny Yaddy. I'll just say Michael Buffer. Man,
I think Michael Buffer is known for the Let's Get Ready to Rumble. That's his trademark, and that's what catapulted him into, being the most famous, and then he dropped his voice. But I love the way Jimmy Lennon do it. I like Jimmy Lennon. And you know what, man? I like Diamante, man. Currently,
okay, I like it.
Yeah, I currently like Diamante, man. I think sometimes Michael Buffer is the Hollywood version. You know what I mean? He's Hollywood. But to the hardcore boxing, me personally, I like Jimmy Lennon, man. I think he's the best.
Okay. What I was really asking was the fights they covered. Who do you think had the best fights?
Oh, who covered the best fights?
Right.
Oh. Man.
That's a tough one. I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's I like that. Kurt, what you think, Kurt?
Well, to me, my favorite.
I want to hear the noise in the back, man. I'm trying to be a little nature boy doing it outside, man. I'm gonna do it inside from now on, man. But pardon the noise in the back, man. The kids decided to, ride their dirt bikes while I'm out here. All of a sudden, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. All of a sudden, everybody want to ride their dirt bikes. But Kurt, what you think, man? Before
I say anything, me and Scrap, that's my brother. We talk a lot behind the scenes. The Purist channel on YouTube. Scrapbook is an encyclopedia, man. And my voice. And we learn from each other. Scrapbook, a real stand-up guy, man. You talk about boxing story for days, man. We could be on the phone for 2 hours, but let me just get to my favorite announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr. I'm gonna tell you why. Jimmy Lennon Jr. had an old school feel to him that Michael Buffer can't compete with. Michael Buffer was Hollywood, and that's all fine. I got nothing against that. He was Hollywood, he popular. He had this, Let's Get Ready to Rumble thing going on. But Jimmy Lennon Jr. was just a straight up, to me, old school announcer. I believe he had, the better fights, man, because Jimmy Lennon Jr. had a long legacy at the old Western Film Forum, and I just like his voice, man. So I would have to say Jimmy Lennon Jr.
And let me tell you, I was just getting ready to get to that. I was getting ready to tell you a funny story because I was at the the Heather Hardy, the recent fight, and when we did the press conference, we did it down in the city, and Michael Buffer and Diamante both told me that they both learned and got advice. They both seek out Jimmy Lennon to get advice because his history and the fact that his father was in it and he was famous in it. So they both seek him out for advice. He's helped them in both of their careers get to where they are today. So they both look to him for advice, and they said he don't have a problem giving the least advice. But you know, they both call him the blue chipper of it all.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, but before we say Jimmy Lennon Jr. father, that's who Jimmy Lennon got, you know, his start from, you know. And see, when you have a father that shows you different, you know, different things about what you're going into, what he, you know, he has the experience being into, it does something to the son, man, you know. And Jimmy Lennon Jr., you know, turned out to be an excellent announcer, man, you know, just like his father, you know, like Scrap said. So I would say Jimmy Lennon Jr. He had an old school feel to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I appreciate it, brothers.
I appreciate you, Scrap, man. Anytime. You already know what it is.
Hey, Scrap, I'm going to talk to you, my brother.
I'm got it, man.
Hey, that's funny. He said that. He brought that up, Kurt, because I literally did that press conference. We was in the city. That was Wednesday in the city right before the Devin Haney fight, and they both we was at rooftop, and you know everything was over. We was just standing around, you know, kicking rocks around, and they both legitimately just told me that they both seek out Jimmy Lennon for his advice because he's such, you know, a blue chipper in the game, that both of them seeked him out to get to where they are. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is. Wow. A lot of respect.
We got another call already. What's your name? Where you calling from?
King Allah, man, in the building. We here, bro. We here. I got you, baby.
Yes, sir. Salute, King. What's shaking with you?
Hey, man, shout out to Kurt Sugar, a.k.a. The Historian, a.k.a. Kareem. No finest. What's going on, y'all? Yeah.
Same old.
Newark, New Jersey, stand up, hardcore boxing town.
Man. I want to, you know, shout you and Kurt out, man. Hey, man, I'm so glad you're back, man. We needed this, man. You know, like I told you, man, you make my day, man. You get me through this work. You know, I'm at work right now. You get me through my day, man. You know what I'm saying? Man. All the time. Yeah, man, I appreciate y'all, man. You know, giving up that good content and holding LDBC down, man. That's what we do here, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, just calling by giving a little love, man. Hey, listen, real quick on the topic, that situation, man, Eddie Spaghetti, man, with the Jeggy promotions, it went bad as I know. It's about to go bad as I knew it would.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I got Spence, man. You know, in about 8 or 9 rounds, man. I just want to get that to y'all real quick on the drive-by, man.
No doubt, no doubt, King. Appreciate you.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man, and keep up the good work, man. I'm on the live chat with you, man. I'm checking in. You understand?
Salute.
Shout out to the LBC, man. You already know, man.
Salute.
Hello, King, man. Brick City brethren, man. Stand up, Newark, New Jersey.
You already know, Kurt. You know, we in the building, baby. I got you back, man. You already know. Hey, love y'all, man. Stay up.
Love is love. Yes, sir. Peace, King.
Peace.
Yeah, Kurt, man. I was talking about this earlier, and I wanted to talk about it, get a little more in depth about this, man. With all the situation that's going on with these attacks over in Saudi Arabia, man. And the fact that, you know, this fight is over there, and the commander-in-chief of this here land, you know, seem to be seeking out, you know, how could I put it without YouTube, you know, flagging us? But, you know, he seemed to be seeking out, you know, the worst possible scenario, man. What's your thoughts, Kurt? I feel like that fight needs to make adjustments. It's still early. It's September. You still got time. Make adjustments. Why wait?
Yeah, boxing don't need any controversy. It really don't, man. It can't afford another black guy. You know, if something over there happens, I hate to say it, you know, but that country, you know, no matter the security, you know, you're at, it's an at risk country. You know, they have problems with terrorism, and for a heavyweight fight to be over there, even though Ruiz is Mexican American and Joshua is Nigerian British, it needs a fight of that magnitude needs to be in England or United States, preferably the United States. So, when a fight was made in Saudi Arabia, I wasn't too comfortable with that. You had title fights in Kingston, Jamaica, and Venezuela and the Philippines, but Saudi Arabia is different, because of its checkered past. So, there's time to move the fight, but maybe Hearn has some unforeseen deal with the Saudis, man, because I still say that's a strange selection, Saudi Arabia. I was floored when I found out it was over there.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. I think it's just not necessary. I know Eddie Hearn is seeking the money for however much money they offered him. Shannon Briggs had told me that they offered him, tons of money, and the money is long. But at this point in time, it's about safety. It's not about money, man. It's about safety, and I think that while you can, before you're scrambling. Right now, you're not scrambling. Make the necessary adjustments. I know Eddie Hearn is not from here, but I'm pretty sure he watches the news and he understands what's taking place. So you got to make the necessary adjustments right now, especially right now. This fight is too big. It's too big to, at the last second, run into issues. Why would you want to wait, man? Make the necessary adjustments right now. Like you said, the sport of boxing don't need no more black eyes. It don't need it. So listen, this fight is good for the sport. Let it be that. Don't let it be a memory for the wrong reason. And that's the road we headed down. Don't let it be a memory for the wrong reason. Come on, man. Listen, it's enough money to be made in other places, especially for a fight of this magnitude. It's not going to do nothing short of great, because it's the interest is so high because did Anthony Joshua, have a bad night? You know what I'm saying? Did Andrew Ruiz, was it a Buster Douglas moment? Or can he capture lightning in a bottle, so to speak, once again? Or is it the fact that, like us hardcore boxing fans and historians like yourself, Kurt, is it just the fact that Styles make fights and his style's all wrong? You know what I mean? And the fact that everybody wants to see if Anthony Joshua can make the necessary adjustments, if it's the style. So it's so much going on, man. It doesn't need, it's already huge. It doesn't need to be in a bigger country. And I understand Eddie Hearn is trying to, capture, those historic moments that Muhammad Ali had and fighters had fighting in other countries and, having historic fights in other places. He continues to talk about the Thriller in Manila. He continues to talk about the Rumble in the Jungle. He continues to talk about these places. He's been talking about, if people don't know, he's been talking about, catching Don King and Bob Arum and, replacing them and being the next bad guy in the sport. That's his thing. But still, at the end of the day, man, you got to be smart. You got to be smart, man. You can't do that, man. But the fight in my opinion is already huge, man. It's already huge. It don't need to be in another country to get any bigger. But Kurt, we got one more caller, Kurt.
Yes, sir.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Well, 34. What's up, Blue?
What's shaking with you?
From New York, from Ohio.
Ohio boy in the building. I knew them. Hey, Kurt, I knew them Ohio boys was going to stand up, man.
What's happening with you, Blue?
Ain't nothing, man.
Hey, man, I just wanted to call. Thank you. Y'all doing a good thing, good show, man. Wish y'all the best. But I do got one question.
Yep.
Was anybody 50-0 before losing the fight? Have anybody put 50-0 besides Floyd before losing the fight? Before losing one fight?
You want to go first, Kurt?
Yeah, several fighters, but one of the most famous fighters that was Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. You know, who had an 89-0 streak. You know, that I got him top 10 Mexican fighters pound for pound. I have him at maybe 5 or 6. You know, I got one. I got baby Arizmendi. I got number 3, number 2 Salvador Sanchez, number 1 Kid Azteca. Juan Manuel Marquez is up there, Ricardo Lopez. So Chavez at his prime was a hell of a fighter. You know, before he came to the United States, I knew who he was because I used to watch boxing on a, Hispanic channel, and I said, man, this dude is going to be something. So I told my friends about him, and he came over here, and I remember they had boxing on CBS in New York, and he knocked out Roger Mayweather in 2 rounds. After that, he was off and running. What an inside fighter. And when you go look at Chavez and his body attack against Edwin Chapo Rosario, so he was one of the few fighters. I named him because he fought top level competition when he came over, to the United States. So Chavez is one of many, but I would name him. He was 89-0, I believe, when he lost his first fight, or drew with Whitaker, then lost to Frankie Randall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my favorite Mexican. Yeah, I mean, Kurt, you summed it up, man. But my favorite Mexican fighter. What was Sugar Ray Robinson? Before I get there, what was Sugar Ray Robinson's record before he lost, Kurt?
Oh, he lost his 40th fight to Jake LaMotta. Then he went on after that, he went on a 91 fight winning streak real quick. In his prime, from 1940 to 1951, he was 132 wins, 1 defeat, and 2 draws. He did lose to Jake LaMotta. They fought 6 times. He won 5, but Jake LaMotta gave Robinson his first loss in his 40th fight.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, Kurt? I just watched that. Not to get off topic, but I literally just watched the that special they have on him after we got off the show last night. It's about an hour and a half long. You can watch it on YouTube, man. I love that, man. It go in depth, man. If you guys haven't seen the story on Sugar Ray Robinson, and you can learn so much about him. I know they edited they edit a lot of stuff out, but it's a lot of stuff that you could learn about him, man. And you'll be surprised how many people, Kurt. I thought about it. I was gonna make a video about it, and I was gonna do a trivia to do for us to do a giveaway, but I know it's a lot of people that don't even know that's not even his name. You know what I mean, Kurt?
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Blue. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, that's not his name. I ain't gonna tell you his name. Maybe you'll find out. People can find out, but maybe use that in the trivia question. But a lot of people don't know, man. He has so much respect for Henry Armstrong. He gave Henry a fight to make even more money. Henry was past his prime. That was in 1943. He carried Henry Armstrong. And let me tell you something about Sugar Ray Robinson. He could have just outboxed guys, but that wasn't his temperament. He wanted to inflict punishment and knock you out. So he, because of the speed, and he had a tremendous left hook. He went to 3 different countries and beat their champions in a 19-day span. And the word entourage comes from him. He had a little midget to entertain him. He had these custom-made suits with the conch in his head. He was a pretty boy, but that boy can fight. I'm going to tell you a quick story, and this is one of my favorite stories in boxing with Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson fought a guy named Sugar George Costner, in 1945 and then again in 1950. When Sugar Ray Robinson, he got under his skin, Sugar Ray Robinson knocked him out in the first round. He was at his prime. So Sugar Ray Robinson's wife, they was eating at a table. So the guy he knocked out earlier came over and said to Sugar, "May I have a dance with your wife, Edna?" And so I forgot her name. That might have been out. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Sugar Ray told her, said, "Honey, can you have a dance with this guy so we can both teach him lessons on the same night?" That was brilliant, man. That was Ray, man. That was Ray. And remember something before we go on. As an amateur, he was 89-0 with 65 knockouts, 40 in the first round with no headgear.
Yep, and that's another thing. I know that these guys, have more wins than him in the amateurs, but they don't highlight how good he was in the amateurs, man. We talk about how Vasyl Lomachenko had the greatest amateur resume in the history. No, because knockouts don't come in the amateurs, man. And Sugar Ray Robinson was getting knockouts in the amateurs.
He was stretching people. He was stretching people sideways.
Right. You don't get knockouts in the amateurs, man. That don't happen in the amateurs.
And let me add one more footnote, Blue. He beat Willie Pep as an amateur.
Exactly.
People don't forget that. People forget that.
And this is what I'm saying, man. This is why I tell you guys, and I know we got off topic off your question, bro. But the thing is, man, this is the agenda that they push, and they try to tell us who we should say is the greatest of all time. They try to force that upon us, man. And that's not true.
You got to think about it, though, Blue. These guys, all them guys is great, man. I know it's some that are better than others, but all them guys is great, man.
Right.
Great boxing. Great.
It's just I just don't like it, especially when it comes to us. They tend to try to push us, they try to push us to the side and act like our accomplishments didn't happen, which is really ridiculous, man.
And that's the thing with the Earl and Crawford too. They try to push us either way, but both of these guys are great fighters, and people they just want to see the fight. That's all. So the people want to talk stuff about Spence, talk stuff about Crawford, but in reality, man, both of them guys is the shit.
That's a fact. But hey, listen, we got to get to the next call. I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, is this 646-986-3989?
Yep, that's me.
Leticia Ramirez Hernandez.
You may want to turn your
sorry about that.
No problem. Hey, before we get continue on, man, I want to introduce my brother. Just joined the panel, man. Money Powell III, MP4 Vids. What's going on with you, Money?
What's happening, man? How's everybody? Kurt, what's happening, bro?
Hey, what's Money, what's going on, my brother, man? Good to see you.
Always good to hear you. Always good to hear you guys.
Hey,
Salute to the chat.
We got another caller.
Okay.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Anthony Bolton from Memphis, man. What's going on?
Memphis in the building. What's going on with you, Ant?
Man, nothing much, man. I just came in late. I was doing some stuff, but I was trying to hit the stream. Congratulations on what you have. Shout out to Kurt and shout out to Money Powell and everybody, the LGBT, man.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about Eddie Hearn, and this dude, I'm not gonna say he's an idiot, but he's not that bright. I think he's too smart for his own good. If he was, and I'm just thinking, if I was him, knowing that Anthony Joshua is Nigerian, why won't you have it in Nigeria, or at least South Africa?
Well, according to what I heard behind the scenes, and according to my sources, is that was actually one of the locations that Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua was seeking out, and wasn't approved by Andrew Ruiz. And you know something, I didn't even confirm that. I didn't confirm that with Andrew Ruiz, and I should have. And you know something, that's the good. I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm going to reach out to Andrew Ruiz and his team and ask him, because that was one of the options that I was told. From a neutral party, not from Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, but from a neutral party, that was one of the locations. That's why Anthony Joshua was on tour over in Africa. But I was told that, Andrew Ruiz wasn't on board with that. He didn't truly feel like it was a neutral location for himself. He definitely wasn't on board with Saudi. And what happened was, Eddie Hearn and the team got to a point where the only location Andy Ruiz was okaying was the States. And so then they went ahead and narrowed it down to 2 locations, which was Saudi, because Saudi offered them huge money, and it was the UK. So it came down. They gave him an ultimatum. Listen, you either take the Saudi or you're going to take the UK. You choose. And contrary to what people believe, Andy Ruiz chose Saudi, although he only had 2 options. But I asked him personally, did you choose Saudi? And he said, yeah, they gave me 2 options, because of the previous contract. So he was the one that okayed the Saudi. But when he did okay it, they didn't want to extend the amount of money from the original contract, and that's when he started to drag his feet again, and they had to up the ante. So I believe that it got to a point with them that he wasn't choosing any location outside of the states, and so they went ahead and gave him 2 options. Eddie Hearn, was offered a bag. Eddie Hearn stands to make, from my reports, Eddie Hearn stands to make $14 million for himself in this fight. Which Andy Ruiz is reported to be taking, from my sources at least, 12 million, 12 to 12 and a half, with he's going to get money on the back end from merchandise, gates, so he's going to make a pretty penny. We know Al Heyman is not going to allow him to do that without benefiting himself. And then Andy Ruiz wanted it in the States, and it got to a point where somebody came out the woodworks and offered from Saudi and offered Eddie Hearn a huge bag. I've been told that it came from after the Amir Khan fight, that they got more and more interested in staging a fight in Saudi Arabia, and that's when Eddie Hearn was approached with the offer that he couldn't refuse. It benefited him, it benefited Joshua, and it benefited Ruiz. But as a businessman, Eddie Hearn, of course, was trying to slight Andy Ruiz. He thought he didn't pay attention. He's going to give Andy Ruiz still the same money that he was going to receive before that. So just to answer your question, Eddie Hearn, what you call it, a smart dummy. That's what he is, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And also, I was thinking too that I can see why Andy Ruiz chose Saudi Arabia, because guess what? If I'm not going to be comfortable, you're not going to be comfortable either. So I'm not going to have it in your home country. Might as well have it in a place where we both going to be on edge, I guess. But that could be a problem, given with everything happening in the news too.
Well, me personally, I think that I don't know how much is neutral. See, my issue with it would be this: how much does Andy Ruiz know about the relationships that Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua have in Saudi? So it might not be as comfortable as he thinks. It might have been better for him to go to the UK, because the UK is boxing. It's a hotbed for boxing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's definitely home court advantage for them. But still, at the end of the day, the relationships they could go much deeper in Saudi, with Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, than we know. And who knows the outcome? What y'all think, Kurt? Money?
I let Money take that. You want to take that, Money?
Sure. As a matter of fact, when it comes to dealing with Saudi, you got to go for the money. If you're trying to make max profit, yeah, Saudi is a very good place in order to choose. The only downside is what we all know is security. But if you don't have that issue, sure, Saudi is a good place to have it. Just talking from a business perspective only. You're going to get the best of the best there. There's no denying it. I would probably try to have it in Germany, if you ask me. I think Germany is a very good location in order to have something like that. The only downside when it comes to Germany, you're dealing with a 19% tax bracket right off the bat. If you were in France, you're dealing with 15%. If you're in England, you're dealing with 20%. So when you're in Saudi, that's the reason why they did it.
Yeah, so, hey, I think Andy Ruiz may have overplayed his hand as far as location. Because if I was Andy Ruiz, I think just like I feel like the UK is a hotbed for boxing. I think that Africa is a hotbed for boxing. So I don't think they may have favored Andy Ruiz more than they did Joshua in Africa. So you know, he might have overplayed his hand with that situation. You know what I mean? But I think that he was trying to force their hand into coming back to the States. You know, and it got to a point where they dug their feet in and said, "Listen, you know what? We're going to the UK, we're going to Saudi, or we're going to court." And I think it got to that point. You know what I mean? You know, so
Yeah.
But I appreciate you calling in, man. We're gonna get to the next caller.
I appreciate it, man. Y'all take care.
Appreciate you. Salute to the General, 7A Sports TV in the building. He said, Blue, where you at? Miami? Yeah. I'm out here, son. You know what I mean? We got another caller, man. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Jay Brown. What's happening, Capo? What's going on, Kurt? And what's happening? What's happening, Money Powder Third? Is Joseph.
Hey, what's going on, Joseph?
Jay Brown, what's good?
Oh, man, I was just calling, a little change of pace.
What's
I
happening?
wanted to touch on Serrano and how Matchroom and the Zone is doing her. They promised her this upcoming fight with Taylor, and now it looks like they're reneging. It's kind of like what happened to what would have happened to Wilder if Wilder would have.
It's like we may have lost connection. Still there?
She's very talented. She's a very slick fighter. She got a lot of dog in her, and I really like her skill set. But I think she's getting the raw end of the deal right now.
I agree with you, man. Who disconnected? Somebody said somebody's disconnected. Oh
Yeah,
man,
he went out for a short stint when he was talking. So we missed out on some of the things that he was speaking about.
Yeah, run it back what you said, man, because the people didn't hear you. You can run it back what you said.
Yeah, absolutely. With Serrano, I kind of feel like she's getting the raw end of the deal. With the Zone, she signed a 3-fight deal, and she was promised, that big fight with Taylor. And it kind of gives me some. I'm kind of looking at it from the standpoint like if Wilder would have signed with the Zone and for that fight deal, he probably would have been looking at the same scenario even if Joshua would have won. And so I kind of feel like she's getting the raw end of the deal. They promised her that fight, and now it doesn't look like she's going to get that fight. And I just kind of wanted to see what you guys thought about that, because nobody's really talking about that. And she's a really good fighter. That's a really good fight for women's boxing. And I feel like, those women are actually trying to fight, And if you watch that last Zone card with Devin Haney on it, her fight was probably the best fight on that card.
Mm-hmm. It was the most action-packed fight on the card.
Yes, it was.
I'll say this to you, man. I talked to Amanda. They're not happy about what's going on. I made videos about it. Amanda wasn't happy about what was going on prior to this. Let me tell you what they tried to do. Then I'll let the brothers chime in. What they were trying to do was they were trying to catch her dry, right? They both agreed to 3 fights deal, and then the 4th fight would be them. And you're absolutely 1,000% right when you say this was getting ready to be the same outcome with Deontay Wilder, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. They tried to catch her dry, and when I say catch her dry, they attempted to have Katie Taylor fight her at her 2nd fight. She wanted to get 3 fights in and then go into the Katie Taylor fight. She wasn't active; she was on the shelf. And then they told her, listen, okay, Katie was staying active, as we saw, right? Katie Taylor was active, right? She was fighting, and Amanda wasn't. So Amanda, they tried to get, okay, Amanda, we ready for you to go with Katie. She said, no, I'm not going there with Katie Taylor because I didn't get my fight. She got her fights in. She got her feet wet. Allow me to get my feet wet, right? They didn't want to do that. she forced them to give them this Heather Hardy fight, right? They wanted to push her right in with Katie Taylor. And now after the way Katie Taylor looked in her last fight, and most people thought that she lost that fight, now Katie Taylor is looking to get, which is ironic, right? Because the person that Katie Taylor is moving up to 140 and fighting is a girl who is a Lou DiBella fighter, right? And Amanda Serrano is a Lou DiBella fighter as well. So she's not happy with Lou DiBella. She's not happy with the way DAZN is setting this up. DAZN, Matchroom, Eddie Hearn are not happy with the way Katie Taylor looked in her last fight. And they don't want to put her in the ring with Amanda Serrano next because they're not sure. They want her to get another fight in. They want to make sure she's still, she shake off whatever took place in the last fight. And before they put her in there with Amanda. Amanda's ready now to go in there with her. Now they're telling Amanda that she has to go up and wait. So Amanda's not happy. Her team is not happy. You guys want to chime in on that?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment as a promoter, okay? It is my job to protect my fighter for as long as I possibly can and to make as much money as I possibly can. I'm not saying anything that people don't already know. If I'm watching Serrano with a performance like that, with a Hagler-like performance, the last thing that I need is for Katie Taylor to step into the ring with her because my confidence in Taylor has been shaken. So therefore, I'm going to try to put Serrano put her in a position of being in a disadvantage as much as possible. But when I see it firing back on me, no, I'm not going to put you in with Katie Taylor right now. I'm going to try to wait you out for a little bit until I feel that Katie can at least have a halfway decent chance against you.
What's your thoughts, Kurt?
In boxing, there's always pitfalls with politics, man, and politics shouldn't get in the way of boxing matches. But reality is money, and and women's, they need great fights on a consistent basis to remain irrelevant, man. I really like Serrano, man. She had a hell of a performance. She beat the hell out of Hardy, almost stopped her in the first round. But just because somebody dangles a contract like they did Wilder, 3 fights, 100 million, you don't, it sounds great, but you got to watch out for pitfalls and the obstacles. And like you said, Blue, you know better than anybody because you on the front lines. Serrano's team, is, they're not happy what's going on anywhere. Networks and DAZN and promoters, they always try to tie you into certain things. Like Sergey Kovalev didn't get what he should have got against Andre Ward. He got $0. I believe he got some money on the back end, but contracts can be very weird. So this is money, politics, and fighters never mix. It's like oil and water, man. I try to stay out of it, but it's unfortunately it's part of the sport. I just want to see good fights made, and I try to stay away from the political ramifications, man. But Serrano's team, I heard, like you said, Blue wasn't happy. I knew this from before, but I just wish things would be on straight lace, but unfortunately it's not. It always been like that in boxing, which frustrates the boxing fans.
Yeah, exactly, man. And to get back to your point with as far as Deontay Wilder's situation goes, this is one of the reasons why I tell people, if you don't know what actually took place with the Deontay Wilder DAZN situation, stop talking about it, right? For one, let's say this. Earlier in my stream on the other channel, people were coming in saying that Anthony Joshua offered Deontay Wilder $100 million. That's not true. He never offered him $100 million. Okay, DAZN offered him $100 million. Quote unquote. This is what they supposedly offered him. Excuse me, pardon me, the noise in the back. They supposedly offer him that too as a deal of sponsorship for Deontay Wilder to represent their brand. Okay, it wasn't Anthony Joshua giving them $100 million. That was a sponsorship for DAZN to say, Do me a favor, Deontay. Represent us. That's what that was, okay? And Anthony Joshua, again, I'm going to tell the people, he was not guaranteed for Deontay Wilder in that contract. I'll say it for y'all again. There was no guarantee that he was going to face Anthony Joshua in the contract.
That's right.
Okay? The zone signed him with hopes of that fight coming to fruition, but there was no guarantee. It's just like they signed Triple G in hopes of Canelo eventually fighting him. But that's still two different. This is what people don't understand. They're still on two different promotional companies. So Triple G is under the zone, right? But it's a different promotional company, right? So he's Golden Boy is different from Triple G's. Triple G is now with Matchroom, as a matter of fact. So they're two different promotional companies under the same overall banner network. That's what that is. So Deontay Wilder would have signed there for $100 million or whatever they supposed to have said, right? But it wasn't $100 million. But let's say he did, it would have been under Wilder Promotions, not Matchroom. So he wasn't signing to Eddie Hearn. He wasn't signing to Golden Boy. It would have still been Deontay Wilder's promotional company, and it would have been still two sides of the street. Deontay Wilder would have been with his side, and Anthony Joshua still would have been on this side. Not to mention, Anthony Joshua has a fight-by-fight basis contract with the zone. That's number two. So Anthony Joshua could have always walked away. And number three, Anthony Joshua still would have lost to Andrew Ruiz because that contract would have been for them to fight at the end of the contract, meaning that Anthony Joshua still would have fought Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder still would have fought Dominic Breazeale. Now, imagine if Deontay Wilder would have locked himself into a deal with the zone, right? Imagine if he would have did so, and then Anthony Joshua lost to Andrew Ruiz now and has to go into this rematch. And then, like they're saying now, right, they don't even look in. Anthony Joshua saying that the worst thing he could have did was look to be undisputed. So now after he still would have lost. Now Wilder would have been locked in, and Joshua would have been saying, well, I rematch Andrew Ruiz. Imagine if he rematch Andrew Ruiz and lose. Andrew Ruiz is not with the zone. So imagine if Wilder would have locked himself in and Andrew Ruiz would have beat Anthony Joshua, and imagine if he loses the rematch with Anthony Joshua. That means Deontay Wilder will still be locked into the zone, and now Andrew Ruiz took all the belts, right, again, and crossed the other side of the street. So once again, Deontay Wilder would have to jump through hoops, right, rings of fire. He would still have to do that, get out of his deal with the zone. He still would have had to fight 3 fights on the zone, not name Anthony Joshua, just to get to Andrew Ruiz, who's on another network. This is what people don't understand. He never, ever gave Deontay Wilder a $100 million offer, but Deontay Wilder did give him a $50 million guaranteed upfront offer. That's what we know is real. But thank you for calling in, brother. We're going to have to go to another caller.
Okay.
Appreciate you, bro. My brother, Jay Brown. Hey, so what's you guys' thoughts on that, man? Let's switch over to Shawn Porter saying that he's going to stop Errol Spence Jr. What's you guys' thoughts? Curry, I'm going to let you go first.
Well, that'd be a mistake because he's not Mike Tyson. He's not that kind of fighter, you know, especially fighting an A+ level fighter. You know, he's setting himself up to get stopped if he wants to go to war with Errol Spence. I know he has to fight a certain way, you know, on the inside, but if he throws a fusillade of punches, and because Shawn Porter leaves himself open, man, on the inside. I noticed that. I was studying him the other day, and he can be inaccurate. He's just really strong. He's built like a tank. But, you know, definitely be athletic and have like Spence. And I'm telling you, Spence is going to be putting together wicked combinations, body, head, body. You know, I still say unanimous decision for Spence, but he's going to inflict a lot of punishment on Shawn. You know, now contrary to the belief, it can flip the other way, you know, where Shawn is so strong. And boxing is weird because, well, excuse the siren. Boxing is weird because every fight has his own personality. Maybe Shawn fights above himself that night. Maybe Earl have an off night, you know. So anything can happen, but I just don't see it. Earl got too much upside, and I'm gonna say unanimous decision, man, because I'm replaying the fight in my head. I got a crazy habit of doing that. I'll be washing the dishes, and I can see the trunks, and I can see them battling out in the middle of the ring. And Earl got too much arsenal, man. You know, and his punch placement is too good. So Shawn, he better watch out, or he gonna be the one getting knocked out.
What's your thoughts, Money?
I don't think I can say it any better than what Curtis stated. Oh my goodness, man! I like Shawn, I really do, but when he starts going all out to try to get to Errol is going to let those combinations to the body go. And once, reality has a way of just changing your belief system altogether. When you start getting hit with wicked combinations to the body, we'll see just how your ambitions change. And we're going to see that when he makes an attempt to go out and take Errol out. But me personally, all of the physical advantages in terms of punch accuracy goes in Errol's favor. Yeah, Shawn will make it ugly. He can change up the dynamic. I give it a unanimous decision for Errol, but it would not surprise me to see Shawn probably get ready to visit the canvas. It just wouldn't surprise me. But I wish him all the best. But I'm voting for Errol on this one.
Yeah, and I think but one thing I listened to was Errol, Shawn say, and this just goes to prove that we know that they listen, but Shawn said he reiterated everything we said yesterday, Kurt, today on Sway in the Morning. He said, I will not be denied. I will not say no. That's going to be my key to winning. I'm not going to say no. I will not be denied. I will not tell myself I can't get up if I was to get knocked down. I will not tell myself I can't go through the fire. That's what he said. So that just goes to show. Well, that's exactly what we said yesterday, Kurt. We said that the thing is we don't see a knockout because of Shawn Porter's chip and the resistance. He not going to say he's been backed up against the wall too long, and this situation has gotten out of hand where people thought that he was afraid and ducking Errol Spence, and he's not going to say no. He's not going to quit. And he reiterated the same thing we talked about the whole time yesterday.
Wow.
Yep. We got another caller. All right, man. What's your name? Where you calling from, brother?
This is Martin Garrett from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Salute to Minnesota. What's good with you, bro?
Not much. How you guys doing today?
Good.
You, sir?
Oh, yeah, it's good, man. What's that?
So I just wanted to basically talk about this thing that I've been thinking about like for a couple months now. So I have this theory that I think that Al Heyman is playing mental games with Anthony Joshua. Now, let me explain. Did you guys notice that when the Andy Reese fight was made and then Wilder fought Brazil and knocked him out, that's basically where all that mental issue started with Joshua, where all the rumors started, like with him and his camp and like him not being all into the camp and, him not focusing and all that stuff. And then now on the rematch, Al Heyman's kind of like doing the same thing, kind of keeping everything on hush-hush on when the rematch with Wilder and Ortiz is going on. And he's trying to set it up right before, like a week before the Reese fight, to kind of put that pressure again on Joshua to perform and to win. Because that's kind of like what I felt happened, that he felt he needed to perform on the first fight, and that's why he went for that knockout real quick and got clipped himself. So I just wanted, I want to get your guys' opinion on it. If you guys feel that Al Heyman's over here playing chess and they're playing checkers, or if it was just a coincidence.
Oh man, I'll let the brothers. I'll let Money. You can start off with that one.
Well, Al does play chess, and he can play it quite well. And I can tell you now, let's just say, let's go with what you just said. If that was a psychological warfare game with Wilder coming out and taking Brazil out, yeah, he was very successful in doing so. I think that had Joshua rattled in order to perform. But you know something, you're a professional fighter. You have to be ready at all times. You can't say, well, because of this person over here doing this, that, and the other, oh, that's why I couldn't. No, that's a weak-minded person. That's a person that makes excuses. You stand on your own square, period. That's just how it is. So, regardless of any of that, it's all up to Joshua. It doesn't make a difference what Wilder does. If you want to fight with Wilder, you'll go out here and you'll take care of business, or better yet, you would have taken care of it the first time. That's it for me.
Kurt, what's your thoughts on it, Kurt?
Our old friend Anthony Joshua, huh? I want to say this. After hundreds of fighters, even thousands of fighters, Anthony Joshua is one of those fighters doesn't react well when they're hit. There's nothing no coach can do. I don't care if Eddie Futch or Harry Wiley Sr. was in his corner. He just don't have that intangible. You can hit Marvin Hagler all day and nothing, he'll be poker face. Fighters can get hurt. They can fight through it. Floyd Mayweather against Shane Mosley in the second round, or when he was hurt against DeMarcus Corley, or Sugar Ray Leonard, Evander Holyfield, Trinidad. When you hit them, you may knock them down, but they will get up and fight harder. Anthony Joshua is the total opposite, because he becomes discombobulated mentally and physically when he's hit. When he's being attacked, he doesn't know how to brace himself, or should I say mentally brace himself for what's coming in. And I'm talking about, for any fighter. When he got past Klitschko, I said to myself, he's going to lose. And when he loses, it's going to be by knockout. Sergey Kovalev is the same way. Certain fighters, when you hit them, they fall apart mentally. They don't know what to do. Wilder, the opposite. Look at Ortiz in I believe the 7th round. He withstood the barrage coming from Ortiz. When I look at a fighter, I always say, how well will a fighter adapt when, he's faced with adversity? And Anthony Joshua, if he gets hit again, I don't care if it's Parker, I don't care if it's Ruiz, the hell with Wilder. It could be anybody. When you hit him, you can beat him. He was hurt against Parker in the first round. He did a little dance, but Ruiz temperament just went out there. He hit him multiple times, and him fighting in Madison Square Garden didn't help. So I don't care where the fight in Saudi Arabia or Afghanistan. I don't care where it's at. If Ruiz can put paws on him again, Joshua is going to melt again, because he doesn't react well to punches. It's a mental thing and psychological thing, and no coach or trainer can help him with that.
Yeah, I agree, Kurt, man. I think that. Go ahead, Money.
I was just saying, well said. Joshua just does not have it. He's psychologically weak. Period. And like Curtis said, you can't teach that kind of stuff. I've seen it in the gym so many times. I've seen a guy sparring, and he hits the other guy with a good shot, and he backs off. And he's like, "Oh, my bad, my bad, my bad." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then they get hit with a little bit of shot, and all of a sudden they shake their head. You cannot teach a person to be psychologically strong. That comes from within, and it's something that what's his name, Customato said a long time ago, and it made all the sense in the world. When you get hit, that's when you got to be calm. Some people just can't. They panic and they fall apart, like Klitschko and Joshua. Mike Tyson was like that. He regressed when he got hit. When you look at the Holyfield fights, and Tommy Hearns, one of my favorite fighters. Those guys just didn't know what to do when Hearns had the war with Hagler. I told my father, we was looking at a closed circuit TV. I said, Hearns can't take this, man. He can't fight Hagler like that. You can hit Hagler all day, man. You look at Evander Holyfield when he fought Kwawe when he was young. I said, you know what, man, this dude's going to be a great fighter, man, Evander Holyfield. Because he was, Kwawe was a brutal fighter, could get inside, and, he had the loop and overhand right, and he'll punish you to the body, but Holyfield withstood all that. Certain fighters just have it.
You know, Sugar Ray Leonard was another one. When Sugar Ray Leonard lost to Duran when he was hurt in that fight, I said, you know what? Leonard's going to be a great fighter because certain fighters just have that quality. When they hit, they know what to do mentally and physically.
That's right.
Yep, I agree. We got another caller on the line. Let's get to this. What's your name? Where you calling from, my brother?
What's good? It's your boy Chase that coin calling from New York.
My guy, what's shaking? New York in the building.
Yeah. Salute to everybody on the panel. You know what I mean? Shout out to the LGBT.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say was, you know, I wanted to quickly talk about the whole Tyson Fury thing. You know, the blueprint is out on Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? Tyson Fury was way exposed in that last fight. And in my book, he has a loss on his record. All right? Tyson Fury was exposed by somebody who couldn't punch through a wet paper bag. All right? Now, we all know boxing has a lot of politics and a lot of corruptness within it, right? But in my book, Tyson Fury, after that performance, Tyson Fury is now the fourth best heavyweight. All right, we got the first Deontay Wilder, second is Andy Ruiz, third is Anthony Joshua, and then fourth is Tyson Fury. After that last performance.
Man, I gotta agree with you, bro. I think that Tyson Fury has backslid, to be honest. He says that right after the fight, he went and got himself he threw a couple of cold ones back. He then went to the interview, and after the interview, he said, "I'm gonna go throw a few more back." You know, one point in time, Tyson Fury claim to fame in his comeback was his story and his comeback of staying clean, right? That's what he highlighted, you know, and now, you know, it seems like, you know, Tyson Fury has let go, you know, and it's starting to show. It showed, right? Just skill set and size alone, Tyson Fury should have won that fight walking away, right? But you know what? Like I told guys, the blueprint to defeat Tyson Fury is very simple. It's very bland, man. Jab to the solar plex, hide your right hand, and bring it back upstairs. Tyson Fury is susceptible to that all day, and he let a guy who was relatively unknown, although he was undefeated, 20-0. But let's be honest, this guy was unknown, right? And he let that guy follow out that game plan, and he nearly won the fight. I said this, and you guys can know this. You guys can look back, or you guys watch. You know me. I've been saying the blueprint for Deontay Wilder to beat Tyson Fury is that jab to the solar plex, that Floyd Mayweather jab to the solar plex, the Andre Ward jab to the solar plex, the Pernell Whitaker jab to the solar plex, the Roy Jones jab to the solar plex. It works. Sugar Ray Leonard used it. You know, Thomas Hearns used it at times. It works, right? We see Anthony Joshua incorporated against Alexander Povetkin. I said this before, and I'll say it again. Deontay Wilder used the jab to the solar plex. He will be successful. Anthony Joshua used it against Alexander Povetkin. Andrew Ruiz is a nightmare matchup for Tyson Fury, in my opinion, because we saw that little short guys that he has a tough time tying him up, right? Give him problems, especially guys that's going to let their hands go once they get into the inside. And that's what this guy, Otto Wallin, that's what he did. Once he got in the inside, he did not stop letting his hands go. Now, like you said, he couldn't punch himself through a wet paper bag, and then his ring IQ was shorter than I was going to say something. It was shorter than
Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, Muggsy Bogues, man. I use Muggsy Bogues. It was shorter than Muggsy Bogues, man, because Tyson Fury, at times was coming in with his head down and with his eyes pointing at the canvas. That's a recipe for disaster. You understand? Where's the uppercut? This dude never threw the uppercut, right? Tyson Fury backslid, and this is my opinion. I'm gonna give you my opinion, right? I think that Tyson Fury wants this Deontay Wilder fight, and I'm gonna tell you why. He wants Deontay Wilder to retire him. We are not gonna see Tyson Fury fight after Deontay Wilder fight. He wants it to be Deontay Wilder. Why? Because he have an excuse. He knows it's gonna be a brutal knockout. And then he's going to say, hey, my family, they don't want me to do this anyway. He's going to walk away from the sport of boxing. He's going to walk away, man.
I agree.
Then let me let the brothers cook on that. Go ahead, Kurt.
Yeah, watching Tyson Fury Saturday night, I had a strange feeling. I said, you know what? This is not going to be a spectacular performance. Now, I'm not Nostradamus. I didn't know it was going to be that close, even though the scorecards said otherwise. And that fight should have been stopped, man. That cut was to the bone. But they tried everything to save, Tyson Fury because they want him to be the one to beat Deontay Wilder. And see, when Wilder fought Fury, people were saying how good Fury looked. Now, I give him credit. He looked better than I thought he did, but it was Wilder tipping his right hand. Wilder was overzealous. And people don't realize when you, in your first super fight, you're not always going to look spectacular. Marvin Hagler, when he fought Duran, didn't look that great either. He was trailing after the 13th round. He had to come back and win those last 2 rounds against Duran. And there's a saying in boxing, get this win and get this win and look better the next time out. So it's like, with Fury, man, I think he shot his low. He looked like he's 40 years old, man. And out of Wilder, take nothing away from him, because it takes a special person to jump in that ring. But you're not talking about, Gene Tunney here. You talk about Otto Wallen, or Wallin, should I say, or Otter Wallen, but I think Fury, tries to be something he's not. He tried to woo the American crowd with his antics, man. But I just think that, Wilder, let's see what happens in the Ortiz fight, and they wind up fighting. I think Wilder knocks Fury out, and I agree with you. And I think we've seen the last of Tyson Fury, man. He's not a bad fighter, but they trying to make him out to be something he's not. Tim Bradley and Andre Ward. What's that other idiot? Mark Kriegel. Disgusting commentating. And he's not a linear champion. But anyway, he's a decent fighter. But you can set Fury up. If Deontay Wilder hides his right hand like he did against Brazil, he gets Fury out of there.
Yep, I agree. What's your thoughts on that, Money?
Okay. Fury, like you all were saying, is looking for the big cash out. I have to admit, I was making fun of this fight before it even, happened. I said, okay, 3rd or 4th round, and it should be over. Probably the kid's probably going to come in and, make it interesting for the first 2 rounds, and all of a sudden get tired, get caught with something, and that'll be it. Okay, and then start talking about Wilder in February. When I saw Fury get cut and the way he handled himself afterwards, I put myself in the position of a promoter. I'm saying, oh my God, this guy does not know how to fight with a cut. He doesn't know how to use his reach and his height. He's leaning down into this guy's power, and he's only making it worse like that. And I'm like, Tyson Fury didn't only get exposed by this guy. Really, Tyson Fury exposed himself based on the lack of experience on how to fight with a cut. He gave everything up in that fight. He did. He gave Wallen all of the advantages. And to get hurt in the 12th round the way that he did, it's like, okay, all the hopes and dreams of thinking that you're really going to get something out of Wilder in the value-wise just went out the door. When I saw him get hurt, I said, okay, all right, the end is near. It's only just a matter of time now. And and Curtis is right in what he said, or either you said Fury has problems with guys that are shorter than him. But that won't matter when he's in there with Wilder. Once he gets hit with the right hand, it's all over. Psychologically, he has sold out. By starting to drink again, he's sold out. He's on borrowed time right now, in my opinion. It's time to look on to someone else, folks. I'll be real with you. Tyson Fury, he's going to be a thing of the past real soon.
Yep, I agree with you. Hey, my brother, Chase the Coin. We're going to have to get to the next caller, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Oh, yeah, salute. Thanks for having me on. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Salute, bro. We got to link up, too, man. We can't be here in New York and not link up, man. So we got to link up, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's a fact.
For sure. All right, my guy.
Also, I'm sorry. you know, allowing that fight, and you know, you guys brought it up, allowing that fight to go the full distance, it did more harm than good. Look, even if it would have been stopped on a cut, the value is still there. Hey, you were winning, you just lost on a cut. It's okay. You can still fight, you know. And to me, the value is still there. But to let it go further made it worse.
And you know what, Money?
He's not going to bounce back from that.
Yeah, he suffered a cut above the cut on top of that.
That's right.
And my thing is this: I don't think, if I'm his promoter, if I'm his manager, if I'm his team, with a cut of that magnitude, that serious, that severe, I'm putting you in the ring. First of all, he's suspended, right? So he's not allowed back until no boxing activity, no contact until November 14th, right? The fight is scheduled to take place February 22nd. So that's exactly 3 months and a week he will have to get back to physical activity, taking contact, and then your first live action is Deontay Wilder.
No,
you want to risk that cut? Deontay Wilder hit him with a stiff jab and reopen that cut. It's over. Hey, let's take this other caller, my guys.
Okay.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Blue? This is Super Mac time. What's up, fam?
What's going on with you, bro? How you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. Just enjoying the show. LDBC, what's happening?
What's shaking with you?
Doing?
Chilling, man.
Oh, man,
What's up?
I just want to agree with you, what you just said about Fury, man. That fight that he just had. If that dude had a little bit of, what you were just saying, he could have just hit him with that uppercut, step over, hit Fury with the uppercut, and it would have been a night out for Fury,
Mm-hmm.
But dude didn't have no experience or whatnot, like you guys just said. But I don't think he would be ready, because anybody with that cut, the referees would have stopped that fight if it would have been anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, though, Fury's not ready for Deontay Wilder. We know that. So I think he's just going to fall off and just sail off to the wind. Just go and be by himself.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that this is I think Fury is asking for the Wilder fight. He's pushing for it because he wants it. He wants an excuse to step away, and this is going to give him the reason. This is going to give him the excuse to step away. This is what he's looking for. He's looking for the excuse, and Wilder's the perfect excuse for him to step away. I can't say this enough. Just before you called in, I was saying this. With a cut of that magnitude, a cut that severe, right?
Right.
Wilder's jab is like some people's right hand. It's like their power hand.
Exactly.
As long as he stick to it and commit to it. So imagine if Deontay Wilder, hits him with that jab, and that cut reopens in the first round.
It's gonna be lights out for Fury. It's gonna be lights out.
Right.
Like you said, because all Deontay Wilder, all you got to do, like you said, go to the solar pad, go to the body, go upstairs, hit that right on him, hit him right in the chin. Fury's out again. Even when I was watching the fight, when that fight happened, the whole crowd we was all, oh yeah, he rose up from the dead. We was like, anybody else fight, that fight would have been stopped.
Right.
So all you got to do is hit that. If I was Dante, when he throw that jab, try to step in, left hook right there with the right.
Mm-hmm.
Fury gonna be out of it. Fury, especially when you do that jerky, trying to bend down and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Step over, take that uppercut. It's lights out for Fury.
Yep.
Because he don't have no chin. He don't have no chin.
Yep.
So,
what's your thoughts on that, Kurt?
Yeah, I agree. I can't disagree. For him to be tall and elusive, he's sure easy to hit. He's not hard to hit at all. He was down against Cunningham. He was down a couple of times against Wilder. He was hurt Saturday night. I seen him get hit many times. So he's not this, defensive specialist. He moves well for his size, but that's because of his size. But if Deontay go in there and hide his punches, go to the body and double on the jab, man, and come with that right hand, and then afterwards that left hook, man, Fury's going to sleep. Fury's going to sleep. He lucky he wasn't in there with another heavyweight Saturday. He's lucky he was in there with Waleem. And like I said, maybe he shot his load. maybe he did the best he can possibly do. His body looks funny to me. I got nothing personal against the man. I got a love-hate relationship, with him, but it's time to Fury to exit via knockout. So, what happens with the Wilder and Ortiz fight November 23rd, which I still favor Wilder. I want him to be the one to retire Tyson Fury once and for all.
Yeah, I agree with you, Kurt, man. Hey, what's your thoughts, Money?
Yep. I don't want to overlook Ortiz at all because he is a major X factor in this setup right now. I'm pretty sure that Wilder's going to win. All he has to do is take care of business, and once he does, what's his name? Fury will fade to black. He'll try to get in there. He'll try to do the best that he can. Once he gets hit with that right hand, it's all over. He's going to go down again. I think in that 12th round is still lingering in the back of his mind. Hey, maybe I could be wrong, but I think personally that 12th round is still lingering in the back of his mind somewhere, saying, "Hey, man, I can't afford to take too many more shots like that. I think my days are numbered, but I could be wrong."
Yeah, I agree.
And I want to say something real quick, Money and Blue. Sometimes we, instinctively, we look past opponents. Remember how the Charlo and Hurd fight was so hot, but there was a little stumbling block named Tony Harrison and J-Rock. You see how that changed? You see how quickly that changed?
Mm-hmm.
So often it's strange, man. There's going to be some more upsets.
Yep, I agree, man. I think that we drastically overlooking Luis Ortiz. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and I'm expecting Deontay to beat him easier than he did the first time. Now he's been in there with him, 10 rounds. He's been hurt by him. He knows what to expect. He knocked him out, and he knows he can knock him out. So I highly expect Deontay Wilder to be victorious and even easier. But that's not to say that Luis Ortiz is not a live dog, man. And the sport of boxing is not like any other sport in this aspect, right? That before the fight start, we already looking to the next fight, right? Remember when Mayweather and Pacquiao was going through all the height of this stuff? They would get in the ring, and we wait for the fight to be over just to hear the post-fight interview to see if they was gonna call out the other dude. So we was already overlooking the guy that was in front of him. We have this strange way of overlooking the fight that's right there and enjoying it. Boxing sometimes is a sport. As a fan, you don't enjoy it until you rewatch it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't live in the moment because a lot of times you're sitting on edge. Especially if you got a live dog in the race. If you're rooting for one guy, you're on edge, and if the fight is dramatic, you're on edge. So it's like we truly don't live in the moment all the time, and you don't really get to enjoy it until you rewatch it. And we already know what's going to happen, but as boxing fans, we can rewatch it again because of the dramatics. You know what I'm saying? So boxing is a sport where we looking 2 fights down the road for Deontay Wilder, and he ain't even have his fight that's 3 months away in November. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like that's just the sport of boxing, man. But and the strange thing about it is, I know the boxers feel the same way. That's why they try to convince themselves when you're interviewing them or talking to them, hey, listen, man, I'm not looking past my opponent. I got to get past this fight. No, you looking past them just like we are. You know what I'm saying? Because you're human. You know what I mean? It's just that they in the action, it's different from basketball. You know what I mean? NFL, playoffs is like, one and done. NCAA basketball, one and done. You can't lose, look past your opponent. You know what I mean? They're not talking about, Duke versus North Carolina 3 games from now. You know what I mean? They're talking about Duke and right now because Duke could lose to the University of Charlottesville. You know what I'm saying? So, in the NBA, it's a 7-game series. So it allows us to live in the moment because, You know, we know tomorrow's definitely coming. You know, the sport of boxing, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and so we want to see these matchups before they blow it. You know, and honestly speaking, look at the like Brother Kurt just said. You know, look at the Charlo and Hurd situation. That fight never came to fruition, and it's never going to be the same. If they do fight, it's never going to have the same the same hype and the same importance that it once had. You know what I mean? It's just the Joshua and Wilder fight not coming to fruition. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao these dudes, these promoters, these boxers, these managers, these networks, they should have learned from Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. They should have learned. When Manny Pacquiao got stretched by Juan Manuel Marquez and was face down on the canvas, the fight went out the window. Now, financially, it still did big numbers. Financially, it still did huge numbers, right? But as far as a fan, yeah, we just was happy to see the two names in the ring. But did it have the same oomph that it once had? No, that went out the window, man.
No, it didn't.
It was lost. It was lost, man. And you would think after that, you know, and see the problem with that, and see, this is what I say about a lot, and then I'm gonna let the brothers cook on this. But this is what I say, you know, the influence that Floyd Mayweather has on the sport of boxing, good and positive. I mean, positive and negative, right? You know, he get these fighters, you know, he earned the most money. We never seen a guy earn this much money. He done surpassed sports. He's just an entertainer now, right? So, but the problem is, it's fool's gold because you're not Floyd Mayweather. So the problem is, Manny Pacquiao got stretched, right? But you know, they still made $300-400 million, right? And that's the fool goals about it, because these dudes are in the mindset of, yeah, well, you see, yeah, the fight, you know, the fight happened later on with Floyd Mayweather, but look how much money they still made. You ain't them. You ain't Manny Pacquiao. You ain't Floyd Mayweather. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen with Jamel Charlo. That's not going to happen with Jarrett Hurd, right? And look, proof is in the pudding. Julian J. Rock Williams don't get the respect he deserved. Why? Because we seen him knocked out by Jamal Charlo already. We seen him knocked out by Jamal Charlo already. So even though he beat Jarrett Swift Hurd in dramatic fashion, he still don't get the praise he should, because we seen him knocked out by Jamal Charlo already. And so this should prove to these dudes, promoters, boxers, managers, networks, everybody's not Floyd Mayweather. Stop trying to be Floyd Mayweather. Let that dude sail off into the sunset. Let him go. You ain't him. There's never going to be another Floyd Mayweather. He caught lightning in the bottle, man. He caught lightning in the bottle. He caught social media when it was first starting. He caught it when he was at the height of his career. He was trying to get any and everybody he could. You know, he turned himself into the bad guy. He knew how to sell himself. But we've never seen that act. So he did something that we never saw. He made it cool for little guys to make hundreds of millions of dollars. He made it cool for the little guys to headline on you know, and have heavyweights as the undercard on his bouts. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's not going to happen again. That ship sailed. Now everybody's trying to redo it. It's not going to happen, man. What's you guys' thoughts on that?
Okay, I'll cook on that. Yeah, what Mayweather's a once in a lifetime generation fighter, man. Highly skilled, brilliant fighter. But see, even though, you know, he put onus on an undefeated record, he made it happen. His whole thing, if he would have lost, all this would have went away. But to his credit, he kept winning. And he seeked out the best competition and moved from 130 to 154 pounds doing it. You know, I don't like what he about out the ring, but I give the man credit. He had to win and keep winning, because the bar was raised high for him. Even if he didn't look good, he took criticism. When he didn't look good, you know, when he had to grit a fight out, they tried to give him a loss. You know, the Castillo fans, he lost that fight. He lost that fight. He didn't lose that fight. I had a 115, 113, but he kept winning. No fight is going to look spectacular every fight. But, you know, the out the ring antics, he came up with a plan. You know, Al Heyman, was behind him. It's just like a music artist. When you have talent, but you need what they call a machine behind you. A&R, manager, record company, everybody has to be on board. It's no different than a fighter. But Floyd had the opponents: Canelo, Shane Mosley, De La Hoya, Miguel Cotto. These guys, Juan Manuel Marquez, they all Hall of Fame fighters. And Floyd beat them all. But social media, and don't forget, what really made Floyd was the 24/7. That was him. He's the architect of that. You go behind fighters. I can watch 24/7 all day. And another thing he did, he used money as a vehicle to you either love him or hate him. Black fight fans loved him because with him having money, it was a thing of success coming from where you come from. So you looked at him with the cars and the jewelry. Hell, I used to be like that when I was young, cars and jewelry. So I can't be a hypocrite and knock him, but
Right, exactly.
but other people got cars and jewelry. Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez. You ever see their car collection? But they ain't get the heat that Floyd got. Gee, I wonder why. But things got to fall into place.
Not to cut you off, Kurt. Look how Hector Camacho was. He wasn't short of nothing brash.
Absolutely. It worked for Sugar Ray Leonard and guys like Muhammad Ali. When you really look at their careers, Ali, Leonard, Mayweather, there's eerie similarities. Eerie, when you study their careers, the charismatic personalities, they was called blue chip fighters, pretty boy fighters that can fight. They all had the opponents, and they won. Leonard, Ali got losses on his record, later 5 and Leonard 2 in a draw here, but they was all excellent fighters. They had commercials. They did it all. They were stars. But Floyd, people forget, he did it the long way. Ali and Leonard were stars because of the Olympic background. So that's what I have to say about that.
Yep, I agree, bro. He was cheated in the Olympics, man, and he didn't receive that gold medal, man. But you're 1,000% right, man. Their careers are aligned, man. It's similar, very, very similar. What's your thoughts, Money?
Yeah, both Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard, you would almost think it was like, one just followed the script of the other one. That's just how similar they actually were. Very impressive by both guys coming out of the Olympics and, just starting out the way that they did, and their rise, just the aura that they have, and they captured a lot of people. But with Floyd Mayweather, I take my hat off to him and what he's been able to accomplish, and he's fought the best. And every time, well, he didn't fight this guy. He gets in there, he wins. Well, he didn't fight this guy. Well, okay, he got in there with him. And, well, he didn't fight that guy. Okay, he got in there with him. Oh, now, we got him now. This is Canelo. We got him now. Oh, well, Canelo was too young when he lost. You weren't saying that when he was in there during all 12 rounds. You weren't saying all hopes and dreams went out the door. I love Floyd Mayweather, but these promoters today have to listen to Teddy Pendergrass. I think you better let it go. Let it go. It's time to move. It's time to move on past that, man. You said it well. He caught lightning in a bottle, and that's it. And to go back, for people to go back and look at what Floyd has done over his career and to study him is great. You have that library, that library of information, but you just have to be you.
Exactly, man.
Do the best that you possibly can for the time that you're allowed to do it, and then when you're given an opportunity to shine, hey, man, make the best of it, and just you'll see where the chips fall. But much respect to the these guys that have come up about over the past decades. But Floyd, he's on a different track altogether. Much respect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Just Listen, carve out your own niche, create your own lane. That's what he did. He followed their blueprint, you know. But you know, he said, listen, you know, I could take this pay-per-view, I could make myself into the bad guy, completely into the bad guy. You know, I'm not gonna straddle the fence. You know, I'm gonna be the bad guy all the way around. I'm stepping all the way in it. Hate me or love me. What do you say? You talk good about me, talk bad about me. You're keeping me relevant. But he created his own game, and this is what these dudes need to understand. So these fights need to take place. Stop trying to let them marinate. They trying to let these fights marinate into being the fights that he had. Well, everybody wants to be Money Mayweather. Nobody wants to be Pretty Boy Floyd. Two different careers.
Mm-hmm.
Before he got these record-breaking pay-per-view numbers, he was Pretty Boy Floyd. That was
he was he was a blue-collared guy. I think some people they kind of forgot about that part when it came to him. He was a blue-collared fighter, man. I mean, this guy's down in the trenches making it happen.
Exactly.
He was.
And they forget that he seeked out all the best competition.
He did.
You know, he seeked out Joel Casamayor. He seeked out Freitas. See, these people, most people don't even know who Asalia Freitas is. They don't even know. They don't know. Most people don't know who Freitas is. They don't know how good Freitas was. They don't know how Freitas was being praised. Right?
That was a dangerous fighter, man.
Joel Casamayor. You know, Shane Mosley when he was the knockout artist at lightweight. Mm-hmm. You know, Oscar De La Hoya when he wanted that Oscar De La Hoya crown for ever and a day. Since Bob Arum told him, listen, you ain't Oscar De La Hoya, you can't get a billboard. You know, they forget, man. He seeked out the Prince. He seeked out all these dudes, man. They didn't want to fight him. And so people forget, man. They forget. How soon we forget.
Hey, Blue.
Uh-huh.
Hey, check this out, man. You're making a good point, but also at the same time, there's a flip side to it. We talk about, hey, own your greatness, go out there and fight the best, and don't let these fights marinate. That's when you run into situations like, hey, is this a little bit too early?
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I think sometimes it's a little questionable. Even like Bob Arum had said to Tyson Fury, and that's when I said, hey, man, Tyson Fury may really be limited. Because even Bob Arum said, hey, do you guys really want to fight Wallin? Are you sure you really want to fight him? And when you have your promoter saying this, not people out there in the crowd or whoever, when you have your own promoter saying, hey, are you sure you really want to do this? There just might be a problem.
Right. And when I say marinating, I'm talking about, you know, when these guys are like Jamel and Jared. You know, we know Jared got hurt.
Okay.
You know, he had to have surgery. You know, but for the most part, you know, look at the Joshua Wilder situation.
Right. That just went entirely too long. We all kept saying the same thing anyway. Hey, look, someone's going to get caught short, and we all suspected it was going to be who? Joshua. And that's exactly what happened.
And it was the same situation with Mayweather and Pacquiao. They let it go too long, and he tested the waters too many times against Marquez, and he ended up getting stretched. And that's what happened. Hey, man, but you guys, man, call in, man, because we're going to stop the show at 8 o'clock. We're going to be stopping. So call in, man. Y'all got the opportunity to call in. Call in. Make it happen, man. We got the lines open. Get those call-ins in. But, yeah, man, back to let's close it out with this Shawn Porter, Errol Spence fight, man, because I'm excited about this fight, man. I don't know if you guys listen to Shawn Porter on Sway in the Morning. I don't know if you guys heard him, but you know, it's a interesting. His confidence, to me, is at an all-time high. This guy's confidence is at an all-time high. You know, he's saying, "Listen, Errol Spence ain't never saw nobody like me." Errol Spence, he said that Errol Spence is going to get hurt. He said Errol Spence is going to get tired. He said, "I'm gonna test his will. I'm gonna test his heart. I'm gonna test everything." Shawn Porter's confidence is at an all-time high. I don't know if it's false confidence. I don't know if he's trying to convince himself, But the build up for this fight is intriguing. And another thing I want to ask you guys on the panel, my guys on the panel, I want to ask you. I'm hearing that I'm hearing that the ticket sales aren't doing that well. But let's get to this caller. We got another caller. Let's get to this caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
We're going down with it.
Oh, boxing and barbecue. What's going on with you, bro?
Hey, man, just think y'all better chop it up.
Yes, sir.
Wait, man. So regardless of the topic at hand, when Shawn, he gonna stop Earl. Listen, man. Shawn don't even believe Shawn to stop Earl. That's number one. But I got a question for all y'all, man. So everybody believes that Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence are the top dudes at 147. Hell, I even believe that them two top dudes at 147. But with all that being said, I do believe that Shawn Porter is going to give Earl the harder fight than Terrence Crawford just because of the physicality and the durability of Porter. What do you guys think?
Curry, Money, I'll let you go first on that, Money. You there, Money?
Hey, I stepped away. I'm sorry. I stepped away for a quick moment.
Yeah, he said that he think that Shawn Porter is going to give Earl a tougher fight than Terrence Crawford. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, our style is going to definitely, make a statement like that. The only question that I have is when he tries to go on the offense, he really leaves is a very good puncher on the inside, especially with that wicked uppercut to the gut. And we'll get the truth when they both, step off in there and start letting the shots fire. But Porter really opens up wide. But if he tightens up the shot group, who knows what we may see. But I'm waiting for those body shots to land from Errol. But it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a challenging fight. Make no mistake about it.
Kurt, what's your thoughts on that, Kurt?
I don't see Porter giving a tougher fight than Crawford because Crawford is much, much more skilled than Porter. If anybody that can beat Earl in the division, it's Terrence. They are the two male lions in the Serengeti. Porter is like I would say a jaguar because Porter is tough, and I'm not saying he's not skilled, but he's more tough than skilled. Terrence Crawford, the difference is his skill level is so high. I got him at number one. That's a 50-50 fight. Now I do pick Terrence to beat Earl because the difference in footwork. I can be wrong because Earl can beat Terrence just as well. It's a very close fight. That's why I said that fight will determine the best fighter in the sport of boxing. That fight needs to happen before one of them get knocked off. Just like the 154 pounders. But Terrence Crawford's footwork is exquisite. And look at the Victor Postal fight. It wasn't exciting, but when Crawford says, "I'm not going to get hit," he didn't get hit. He was masterful. He put on a masterful performance. People say Earl gonna beat Terrence because of the size, but to get back to his question, I think that the only person in the welterweight division that can beat Earl is Terrence until Ennis gets more experience. He's a problem for Crawford and Spence, but that's another story.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna get Jerron Ennis on the show. I love Jerron Ennis, man, and I agree with you, Kurt. I think that dude. I think Terrence Crawford is gonna exit the game before Jerron Ennis gets to him, and I think that Earl will probably move up before he gets to him. Jerron is fighting October 26th, I believe. He'll be fighting again October 26th, but I think he's going to take over the division, man, because he got the size of Errol Spence, but he got the skills of Terrence Crawford. and he got the dog of Shawn Porter. If you guys haven't watched Jerron Boots Ennis, man, that dude is the truth. Trust me, man. Trust me, man. But to get back to your point about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, man, and Shawn Porter, who would give Errol Spence the tougher fight, I think that the rougher fight is going to be Shawn Porter. The tougher fight is going to be Terrence Crawford. And why the tougher fight is going to be Terrence Crawford? Because Terrence Crawford is going to mentally break him, right? Where Shawn wants to physically break him, right? So Terrence is going to play a lot of mental games, different angles, different feints, different looks. He's going to make them think, you know what I mean? And where Shawn is going to allow his muscle memory, because Errol is an athlete, you know what I'm saying? So Shawn is going to try to physically break him, and that's going to allow Errol's natural quick twitch muscles and his natural muscle memory to kick in. And he just once he gets warmed up and gets on and they trade on the inside and he gets comfortable, it's going to be an easy fight because he's the bigger, stronger, better athlete than Shawn Porter. But
I want to say this, Blue.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this. I took a good look at that Crawford and Khan fight, and people say he was washed up, but it was something else. For the first time, Amir Khan was intimidated not by the power of Crawford or a fighter, but he was intimidated by the all-around skill set that Crawford brought in the ring. I caught that money in blood. I say he's intimidated. And Kellerman caught that too after the fight was over, because when they was on ESPN together and Crawford was giving him the death stare, I said, my gosh, like he had something against Khan. He wanted to send a statement, not by knocking him out, but saying, this is what type of fighter I am. I have A+ all-around skill set that you can't deal with. Why do you think Khan got hit on the thigh and he quit? He quit.
He knew there was no escape.
Yep,
absolutely.
And you know what? He knew he wasn't gonna. You know what? Just like you said, Kurt. He knew he wasn't going to he knew he wasn't just going to get knocked out. He knew he was going to get beat up. And there's a difference, man. Well, if you fighting a guy and a guy stands a chance to just knock you out, but a guy just beat you up for 12 rounds and then knock you out like he did Jose Benavidez.
Yeah,
man, that has a longer lasting effect on your career than just
absolutely.
That's right.
And remember,
Pernell Whitaker said, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
Pernell Whitaker said, when you knock a guy out early, a guy can convince himself that was a fluke. But when you school a guy for 12 rounds, that's no fluke. Because you can break a fighter's spirit that's worse than a knockout. That's what Sugar Ray Leonard did to Roberto Duran in a rematch. He broke his spirit. And once you break a fighter's spirit, he can't win. He can't win. And that's what Khan saw in Crawford. You know, when in the first round, when Crawford connected with a right hand, then he stepped to the side and threw the left hook simultaneously. That's a Mike McCallum move. And Crawford, he knocked Khan down. I said, this fight is over. And Khan never seen nothing like that. He usually got knocked out by heavy-handed punchers, Canelo and Prescott and Danny Garcia. But see, he was humiliated. He was outboxed and getting hurt. So, you know, he was intimidated. Crawford's a hell of a fighter. He don't get enough credit, man.
No, and remember, Kurt, Amir Khan said after the fight, he said, for the first time I got outboxed.
Yep.
Precisely. Yeah, if you look at that as a chess game, Khan literally, every move that Khan made, he got the piece taken off of the board. Yep. He literally watched all of his pieces just disappear in front of his very eyes and had no answer for it.
Yep.
You know, it's almost like playing that old man out there at the park, you know, in checkers, and you sit down with him.
And he's cool.
They sit there and instead of moving real quick and you're moving with them and you're not really thinking.
Yep.
You just sit there and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, from this point on, every move you make is going to be a double jump.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you're looking like, you got to be kidding me. What just happened?
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened. Yeah, that's right.
We got another caller. Let's get to another caller. What's your name? Where you calling from, man?
Oh, this B&B boxing from Minnesota.
B&B boxing, my brother. What's shaking from Minnesota?
What's cracking, yo?
What's going on?
LDBC, what's up, Money? And Kurt.
What's going on?
Thinking about the Spence and Porter fight, and I want to ask y'all, which fight, when you compare their styles, what fight would you compare it to? Because the fight that I compare it to, that I have in my mind when I see both of their styles, and especially watching the old Dennis Ugas fight with Porter, which I think that style gives him a hard time, and I think Spence is more polished in that type of fight. So I really think it's gonna be a little bit of watch. But the fight that I got that comes to my mind when it comes to them two fighting is Vernon Forrest and Shane Mosley. They kind of fight a little bit the same way, and when Shane opened up, Forrest was there. Vernon, he was just there to take advantage of Shane Mosley. So I think it's real bad because Shawn did not look good in that last fight. So I wanted to kind of get y'all thoughts, and when y'all put that together, what do y'all think?
That's good, man. Go ahead, Curry. I'll let you cook on that first.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned the Vernon Forrest and Shane Mosley fight because, you know, I used to sell boxing DVDs on Elizabeth Avenue in Newark, and you know, people's like, Kurt, what you think? I said Vernon Forrest gonna beat Shane Mosley, and they looked at me and they said, Nah, man, we know you know your boxing, but nah, man, I think Shane gonna get him out of there in 5 rounds. I say, what? I said, okay, because I always knew as amateurs, they fought as amateurs, and Forrest beat them. Fighters that have length always bother Shane Mosley. You know, Vernon Forrest, Winky Wright. You know, Shane was what you call a power boxer, half slugger, brawler, half boxer. His father coined that phrase, Jack Mosley, power boxer. But Mosley always had problems with boxers. Now, getting to Spence and Porter, I can't say off the top of my head what fight that reminds me of. You know, when I go in there and clean the kitchen, it's gonna come to me. You know, but you know, that's a good question. You know, and I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm a Blue and Money in chat. I'm just intrigued by this fight because I'm trying to play the fight out in my head, man. But you just don't know what's gonna happen. Even though Shawn says he's gonna fight a certain way, you know, and you know, we know what Earl is going to do. I explained he's going to throw wicked combinations. So I can't really answer that off the top of my head. But, you know, on our next telecast, I'll come up with a fight that's going to remind me of the fight that's going to happen next week.
Because you're only as good as your last fight. You know, and that last fight, Shawn didn't look that good to me. And I really can't see him change. My bad. Go ahead.
Hold on, B&B. Let Money go ahead and cook on this too.
Okay. No fight actually comes to mind of the past about these two based on their styles. Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up about Mosley and Forrest. But it's going to be interesting because it's not about what Errol is going to do. It's about, can Shawn bring to the table to make it different? That's what I'm looking at. I just want to see, okay, Shawn, you said you're going to do X, Y, Z. I want to see you deliver. Can you do that? If he can, hey, congratulations, but he's got Mount Everest to climb. It's not going to be that easy for him. It's not going to be that easy for either guy if they don't do what they're supposed to do that night, but I have Errol winning. And Shawn is I tell you what, he's true to the game. He's rough, rugged, but I think he's going to fade somewhat like how he did in his last fight. That's my opinion.
My thoughts is as far as what fight does this fight put you in the mindset of? It puts me in the mindset of Winky Wright versus Shane Mosley. And the reason I say that it puts me in the mindset of Winky Wright versus Shane Mosley is because I think that just stylistically, and what Shane Mosley brought to the table against Winky Wright, just wasn't enough, you know. And I think that Shawn, remember, it got to a point where Winky Wright, you know, he couldn't be, you know, Shane was trying to be in his chest. He was trying to be rough with him. He's trying to, you know, he was trying to, you know, rough him up, trying to be out quick him, just out hustle him, try to outwork him. And Winky just stood there with a high guard. And Winky and Winky just, you know, was looking at him, pushed him back, you know, worked him, boom, 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 and you know, worked him. That's what it puts me in the mindset of that. And the reason it does that is because Winky Wright was so disciplined with his approach that nothing Shane Mosley did rattled him. And I don't think nothing Shawn Porter is going to do is going to rattle Errol Spence. I think Errol Spence's size, his strength, you know, he's going to push Shawn back at times. He's going to surprise Shawn. He's going to be the stronger guy, the more physical guy. And I think he's just going to physically break Shawn. You know, he's going to break Shawn at his own game. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah. But I got you guys on a conference call, so we got another caller on the line. So, what's your name?
Salute, y'all.
Salute, brother. What's your name? Where you calling from, bro?
Hey, this is Jeff Hawaii Season Blue from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Salute to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, man. What's good with you?
Good, man. I just had one thing to say to MP4 before he leaves. I like his son. He's a real good boxer. I think his style is more old school, like the old school boxers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he boxes at 160. And I was wondering when Triple G was trying to cherry pick, I was like, why don't he fight Wayne Powell? That fight.
Money said he would fight Triple G. He also said that he would fight Canelo as well. Money would jump in there with either one of those guys right now. This earlier, he would be one of those guys based on styles. When I just look at, you know, like style, you know, stylistics, Triple G is going to have problems.
Say it again, Money. And money, you can start over because you was breaking up.
Okay, then with either guy, both Triple G and Canelo, he has no problem in fighting either guy right now. Neither one, you know, and based on styles, he would be able to outbox either guy. But definitely with Triple G is going to get hit with like Roy Jones like shots, man. He doesn't. The Triple G is allergic to guys that can really box. He needs your cooperation to stand right there. When it comes to Canelo, he's going to go to Canelo's body. He made no secret to that. He says, I'm going to check Canelo's body. He said, if they ever let me in there with him, I will fight him. Now, we did talk about what's his name, but Peter Quillen is fighting him, Angulo. Money said, hey, I'll fight Angulo. You know, to sling him out, to get his name out there if possible in the ring. Someone at Ringstar did consider. They were like, oh, okay. Hey, don't be surprised if that happens on the horizon. Just to let you know.
If he has a bright future, man, I was going to say that. They're doing good. I like it.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you, brother.
No problem, dude.
All right. Salute. Yeah, I think Money is definitely the goods, man. Not just saying that because you are my bro. But I definitely think he's the goods, and I definitely think his size and his length with the power and the skill set that he have could definitely give them a lot of problems, man. That's a bad style matchup.
You know
for both guys,
something? Yeah. Let's see. I was talking to Montel Griffin. Montel said about Money after his last fight. He said, if I had Money's height and his reach, he said, I would be heavyweight champion of the world.
Wow.
Yeah, we both had a good laugh. I said, man, you wild. He said, oh, I'm dead serious. I said, oh, okay.
Man, that speaking of which, man, we saw Michael Hunter. What's your guys' thoughts on him, Michael Hunter?
Okay, who wants to go?
Kurt, you want to
I'll cook after you. Oh, go ahead. What'd you say?
I said, what's you guys' thoughts on? First, I want to ask you guys what you guys think about my assessment. Oh, we got another caller. Let's answer this caller, and then we will. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Man, Bluebird Sports, man. This is Dre Berry, man. I'm calling from the West Coast, man, right now, man. Cali.
Salute, Dre Berry, man. Over there in California, A, man. I will be touching down in California, A, and LA on Wednesday, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate what you do for us, man. You keep it 100 with this boxing stuff. And the thing I like about your channel is you never choose sides, man. There's a lot of channels that I'll be peeping, and a lot of them choose sides for some of these guys, and it's unrealistic. So I appreciate that you give people real content with a non-biased attitude, man. That's real good for the sport.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your support, man. Y'all the reason, y'all. I do this for y'all, man. Like I always tell y'all, man. I'm the bridge between y'all and these dudes. You know what I'm saying? The promoters, the boxers, you know, the managers, the networks, man. I'm the bridge. I'm just a bridge between that bring the two worlds together, man. So that's why I always say, man, I don't like to go there and I could go there and be a fan. I got my fans. I'm a human being. I'm a fan of the sport of boxing. But at the end of the day, I got a job to do, man. I owe it to you dudes, man. So that's all I do, man. I appreciate you, man. But go ahead. You can go ahead and cook, though.
Yeah, but on the subjects at hand, first of all, Joshua Ruiz possibly being relocated. Man, it's a saying that a lot of us in the African American community know from our grandmothers and mothers, you know what I'm saying? And if that saying is, God don't like others. If Eddie Hearn would have just had the fight in New York in the first place, man, wouldn't none of this stuff have happened? And I'm not, I am a political guy. I like to know what's going on in the world. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's not good for a sport if you have a big event like Joshua Ruiz too, and and our sisters is not even allowed to be there. You know what I'm saying? I think that was a big loss for the fight, anyways. You know what I mean? So, this is just the type of things that happens when you try to slip stuff through the rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? You come out on the other end and you realize that you made a mistake. You know what I mean? So the fight should be rescheduled, and they should just go ahead and put it either in Los Angeles or put it back in you know what I'm saying, in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying, where it should have been from the first place.
Yeah.
I don't think that it was a good idea to put it over there in Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect towards my Muslim brothers, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that goes on over there, you know what I'm saying, that people have no control over. And we're seeing that, unfold right now.
And to respond to what you just said, man, if I was the promoter, right, I would have did it on the West Coast. I would have did it in California, because now we're capturing both of the biggest markets in the world. So why not? We did it in New York already. I wouldn't have brought it back to New York. We already did that. Been there, done that, right? We already have captured that. We already captured the imagination. We already did it there, right? Now let's take it to LA for the rematch, right? And it's the biggest rematch, one of the biggest rematches in the sport, because we never got Buster Douglas, Tyson Douglas too, right? So we showed it. Right. We got Lennox Lewis Rockman, and we got Lennox Lewis McCall, but they clipped Lennox Lewis with one punch, and that can happen to anybody. This fight, Anthony Joshua got beat. He got dropped 4 times and ultimately stopped. If you imagine if you take this fight now and you put it to LA, man, everybody from New York that was supporting the fight, whether it be media, fans, whatever, boxing pundits, they all gonna travel to LA because
gonna come to LA.
Right. So now you captured both coasts, both the biggest markets in the world, right? You lock them in. That's what they should have did from the beginning. And on top of it, Andrew Ruiz is Mexican. There's no Mexicans out here like that.
That's what Eddie Hearn was scared of. When you look at the demographics of Los Angeles, California, and just California, period, you know what I mean? With a state that has 43 million people, that's what the census say right now is 43 million people in the state of California. I could bet, Blue, that it might be around 55-60% are Hispanic.
Right.
And so what Hearn realized is that if we go to Los Angeles, this is gonna be an Andy Ruiz fight.
Right.
And then we had AJ saying, "Oh, I need to feel all of the crowd support over in London. I need to feel the support of the UK fans run through my bloodstream."
Right.
Like, come on, bro. Like,
and my thing with this, and I feel like Eddie Hearn did and then I'm gonna let the brothers cook on this too. But I feel like Eddie Hearn did Anthony Joshua a disservice by taking it to Saudi Arabia, and I'm gonna tell you why. He, like I said, you capture You did it. You fought in the Mecca of New York, in the Mecca,
Right.
the world's most famous arena in Madison Square Garden. You did that, right? And now
Right.
you take the fight over to L.A. You did it
Right.
in the Wembley Stadium in the UK on the biggest platform, on the biggest venue. Now you did it in Madison Square in the Garden in New York. Now you do it in LA. So now you're saying that Anthony Joshua was part of the 3 biggest fights in the 3 biggest in 3 biggest arenas in the world. Right? How could you fought at Wembley, you fought it in LA, and you fought in New York.
Yeah.
And not to mention, you fought that Klitschko fight. That was dramatic, that was historic. Now you fought Ruiz fight in Madison Square Garden. First you fought Klitschko at Wembley in front of 80,000 people.
80,000 people.
Right. That was dramatic. That was historic, right? And then you fought in Madison Square Garden. That was dramatic. That was historic, right? You lost. You came up short, but the fight itself was historic. Now you have the rematch in LA. Listen, that's the cherry on top of your career, especially if he's victorious. Imagine.
Yeah, and that just shows they want any type of edge that they can get.
Right.
That just shows that just shows me that he is not confident in Anthony Joshua winning this next fight. Bro.
Nope.
That's what that shows, bro.
Let me ask the brothers. You go ahead, Money. This is the last call. We're gonna take them. We're gonna get up off here because I know the General 7-8 gonna be coming on. But go ahead, Money. You cook on this. Go ahead.
All right, check this out. I'll make this real quick. You all brought up some good points. I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball in it. Anthony, the UK, annihilate him in front of 80 to 90,000 plus people. Bring it back to the States and show the world I can fight anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. And to know that he's going, because he has all of the psychological advantages. That's the reason why I'm saying that. But when you're dealing with Saudi, it's because of taxes. They're going to max out on the amount of money that they can actually make over there. The only reason why I wouldn't want to fight in the UK is because you're taking a 20% pay cut on the Queensberry rule in terms of taxes. Then on top of that, you lose money when it comes to reconverting the pound back to the dollar. I know this personally because of my son. I'm like, whoa, man, he took a little bit of a loss, but that's just the way it works. But forget that. Knowing for him to go over there and to stop Joshua in front of his own people, then there are no excuses when Joshua loses. Now, to go out there to California, that would be awesome. Even I would go out there to go watch that. But that just wouldn't happen because of Eddie Hearn. When it comes to the promoter, you already know Eddie is going to try to give Joshua the best advantage that he can. And he knows that Joshua is at a psychological disadvantage right now. That's my opinion.
But if you and Andy, you really want to take the chance of going to the UK, not just because of the money, but after we seeing what's happening with Dillian White. How long has it been since Dillian White, Oscar Ruiz, when he still was juiced up and he still got put on his behind by Oscar Ruiz? How long has it been since that beat simple?
Yep.
Fight again?
You know something? You know something? Nothing can save Joshua once he starts getting hit with a lot of shots. I see where you're coming from. You know, I respect where you're coming from.
And I'm gonna say this to
once he starts letting those hands go, Joshua's going to hit the canvas. There's nothing that's going to be able to save him. No referee, no one.
Yep, I agree. And I'm gonna say this to that, you know, and then we're gonna let Kurt cook, and then we're gonna get out of here. But there's rumors and reports that Dillian White could possibly. First of all, July 17th is when they were notified of the failed test. What's the date? September 18th, right?
September 18th.
Man, we're talking about what is that? 2 months, 3 months, right?
Ridiculous.
That's unheard of. And they're talking about him fighting on the undercard of Joshua Ruiz in December.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So, but go ahead, Kurt. You cook on this, Kurt. Then we're gonna get up out of here.
Yeah, I have my take. You know, I want to, you know, I don't like the fight in Saudi Arabia. I know money goes into it, but I just think that Hearn, you know, is going to make money because they promised him something. I don't know what it was. They promised him, you know, I don't know, a bonus or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that goes beyond the scene in boxing that we don't know about. But you got to start having certain fights in certain places, you know. For starters, Earl Spence versus Shawn Porter should have been in Texas. It's a weird Los Angeles fight.
I
My
agree.
brother Blue said it's not doing well ticket wise. I just think they're trying to set up black fighters to lose, man. Trout and Charlo was in Los Angeles. And as soon as the bell rung the first round, the Mexican fans was booing them. The fight didn't even start, basically. So, Deontay fighting in Alabama, great. Crawford fighting in Nebraska, great. Spence, all his fights can be in Texas. When there's a super fight, it could be at Dallas Cowboy Stadium. Garcia, it was a bonanza. It was a success. 45,000 people. If he fights a top 10 contender, it could be in the other arena, the Dallas practice facility. But I don't like Spencer Porter being in the Los Angeles. I don't like Joshua and Ruiz being in Saudi Arabia. Now the old school fighters, they fought India everywhere. Ali fought everywhere. So did Robinson, but these are different days. You don't have the popularity, so you got to put certain fighters in their backyard. If he's the eighth fighter, let him fight, in his backyard. You just got to beat him in his backyard. So, that's just the way I see it, man.
I'm gonna say one more thing on that behalf. I do understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you have to look at, compare it to, all right, so Andy Ruiz, he was a 30-point underdog, and nobody thought he was going to win, you know what I'm saying? And he went in there and took 3 belts from AJ, the dude that they said that was unstoppable. Then you got somebody like Terrence Crawford, 135, undefeated, multiple belts. 130, undefeated, multiple belts. 135, undefeated, multiple belts. 147, you know what I'm saying? This dude can move up three divisions from 135 to 140 to 147, you know what I'm saying? And, don't nobody really want that smoke with this dude. And then Earl, Earl walk around at 186 pounds. I don't know if y'all know this. Earl went from 154 down to 47. I don't think he has done as much as Bud has. So I don't think that he deserves to have every fight, you know what I'm saying, in Texas, because I don't think he's reached the same plateau. And that's just my personal opinion. Well, when you got a guy who's undefeated in 3 divisions and he's moved up, you know what I'm saying, from 35 to 40 to 47 and done when he's done, you know what I mean? I think it warrants a different type of favoritism as far as when it comes to picking locations to fight. And that's just me personally. Now, if he goes in this fight with Shawn Porter, which I think it's going to be much harder than people think it is. Shawn Porter is a different fighter. This man has fought Danny Garcia, Thurman, AB. He done fought a lot more people. He's tested. He didn't get put on the canvas and got up and still won. Earl ain't been that way. And so I think once he beat Shawn Porter, which, like I said, it's going to be tougher than people think, then I think, we can move to that plateau where it's saying, okay, he's finally, been tested. He went through some type of people fought a lot of guys, and it's a seasoned vet, go ahead and start letting them get them fights in Texas. But that's just my personal opinion.
Well, my thing is this: we talk about as far as the fight being in Texas, it's not about their accomplishments. It's about them being an attraction. And the facts remain is that Earl is a bigger attraction than Terrence, and Terrence is allowing Earl he allowed Earl to catch up to him, and now he's allowing Earl to start to surpass him, because you look at his last 3 fights, and I get what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying about his weight class. Him mowing through these different weight classes. But right. the thing is that when you look at the level of competition right now, currently, it's just boxing is a sport of what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? And right. And when you look at it, Earl has went to the UK and beat Carol Brooks. He has beaten Mikey Garcia. Now, we knew Mikey Garcia moved up in weight, but Mikey Garcia, name-wise, Mikey Garcia moved up.
True. Mikey is 130 pounder, though. Let's see,
so I always got to correct people that say that. Mikey's last 5 fights were at 140 pounds. He was a champion at 140. So essentially, he moved up 1 weight class, right? He was a 40 pounder draining himself to 35. Just like people say that Earl's a 54 going down to 47. You know what I mean? Mikey fought 3 of his last 5 fights were at 140.
Yeah, you're right. He AB and two. I forgot the other two, but yeah, you are definitely right.
Yeah, And the only he didn't want to move down to 35, but the only reason 4 out of his last fights would have been at 140. The only reason he dropped down to 35 was due to the fact that they told him they was going to strip him of his belts if he didn't fight Robert Easter. So he dropped down to fight Easter, and he went right back up to 40. So he wanted to hold the belt simultaneously in 2 different weight classes. So that's the reason why he dropped down to 35, or he would not have dropped back down to 35. So when we're talking about the last competition, Mikey moved up in weight, and then we gotta understand this too. This is one thing we gotta keep in mind. We always say, when a guy loses, we say, he was too small. But when a guy wins, we praise him to the heavens. You know what I mean? So Floyd Mayweather, when Floyd Mayweather moved up in weight, you know what I mean? It's boxing. We gotta keep in mind that these dudes ain't walking around at that weight that they weighing in at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's true. That's true. Yeah, but Floyd is a different type of dude.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely for sure. But what I'm saying is, like Earl, right? So everybody right now, even Kenny Porter said that Earl is fighting in the wrong weight class. He needs to fight in the weight class that he belongs in, and that's 54. Now, if Earl go up to 54, and let's say he took on Julian J. Rock Williams and lose, we can't say, well, he's a 147 pounder that jumped up to 54. No, you know what I'm saying? Because we say that he's big for the weight class anyway. Mikey Garcia was big for those little weight classes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell. Remember, we got to keep in mind, Mikey Garcia. Remember those videos we used to see of Mikey Garcia forcing himself to throw up in the elevator, passing out before weigh-ins. Having to get carried from weigh-in. That means he was depleting himself, to no end to get down to those weight classes. So that wasn't his weight class. It's a skill also to get down to these low weight classes. Just like it's a skill to do it in the ring, it's a skill for them to do it in the low weight classes. But let's let Kurt cook on this. Go ahead, Kurt.
I want to say this, sometimes weight can be an excuse, man. Certain fighters, when they lose, they say, oh, he was too small, and then, they force certain other fighters to move up. And when they lose, they be like, oh, he lost because he just lost, Well, let me tell you a quick story. When there was 8 weight divisions in the days of Henry Armstrong, he was a featherweight. He won the title against Peter Saran. And then he skipped the lightweight division and took on Barney Ross. He won the welterweight title at weighing 133.5 pounds. Then he dropped back down to lightweight and beat Lou Ambers. And he did it because he was highly skilled. One of the best inside fighters ever. So we can't use that excuse because Mikey Garcia fans will say, oh, he fought a bigger guy. Manny Pacquiao moved up. Mayweather moved up. A lot of fighters did it. De La Hoya, Roy Jones, throughout history. So when a fighter loses, you can't say it's weight. Maybe he just wasn't good enough. Mikey wasn't good enough to fight an athletic boxer.
Oh, no. And people was making up all these excuses, and that's what I didn't like. Mikey Garcia is he's a total fighter. I think he's just more technically sound. Earl put that to sleep. You know what I'm saying? My only thing I said was Earl has moved down, and Spence continues, and Bud continues to move up. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that I want to see. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Bud versus Spence. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be the dynamic fight. Bud can fight on both sides.
But real quick,
left-handed or right-handed. You don't know Bud versus right-handed, bro. I haven't seen that in a long time because you don't know when he fights. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's going to be a beautiful thing to see. But I know we got other guys that want to get in here. I really appreciate y'all brothers for letting the fans come on who support y'all and what y'all do and speak our minds and have intelligent conversations. You know what I mean, about the sport of boxing because it's back at the height that we wanted to be. It's been there for a little while, especially in the heavyweight division. So I appreciate y'all brothers there, and I'm gonna tune back in.
Appreciate
live
you.
And Blue, I'll be back every time you go live, my brother.
I appreciate you, champ.
Salute.
Go ahead, Kurt. Cook on that, Kurt.
But real quick, business wise, Spence is the A side. Because
Yes,
the Garcia fight, when you have a pay-per-view success, 45,000 people in the arena, his brand is big. He has the Cowboys behind him. I hate the Cowboys, but his star is bright right now. Texas always been an underrated fight town with produce a lot of great fighters. So, Crawford allowed him to surpass him business-wise. He had pay-per-view fights against Postal, and it didn't do well in Khan. So, but, that's business. But in the ring, I just want to see him in the ring. The fight probably be in T-Mobile Arena in Vegas.
Yeah, man, I agree. I made a video about that. Terrence Crawford said that he was the clear A side, and I made a video about that last night just to debunk that because he's far from the clear A side. He allowed Errol Spence to catch him, and they were even. And what you say in football when a wide receiver tells a cornerback in football, if we even, I'm leaving, and that's what happened. He allowed Earl to get even with him, and now Earl is leaving. Why? Because Earl has the Shawn Porter fight. Should he be victorious against Shawn Porter? And depending upon how he beats Shawn Porter, because we never seen Shawn Porter dominated. So if he dominates Shawn Porter and happen to stop Shawn Porter or drop Shawn Porter, hurt Shawn Porter, and then he's able to secure a future fight with regardless of what people want to tell us, regardless of what agenda they want to push. Manny Pacquiao is the name and the face of the sport of boxing. Canelo Alvarez is not that. People push Manny Pacquiao to the side since he lost to Floyd Mayweather. He is still the face, the most accomplished boxer that's still currently active. Point blank and period. Manny Pacquiao, he is the most accomplished, the face of the sport of boxing, not named Floyd Mayweather. And so if he's able to secure a future fight with Manny Pacquiao and coming off, so his last 4 fights would be this, right? He would have beaten Mikey Garcia, who was an undefeated 4-division world champion. He would have beaten Shawn Porter, who was a 2-time world champion and the current WBC champion and has never been blown out. And both the losses on his resume could have went either way, right? And then he secures a fight with Manny Pacquiao, 8-division Filipino superstar boxer, and let's say he defeats him. And let's say you tack on the fact that he went to the UK and took back the strap that Shawn Porter lost, and then came back and beat Shawn Porter for the belt he do have. And then he stopped Lamont Peterson in a fashion that we never
saw. Leverage, man.
Yeah, we saw Lucas Matisse stop Lamont Peterson, right? But not the way he just beat up Lamont Peterson. Right. So we gotta take this into consideration. And then not to mention, we look at Terrence Crawford, now we're going to talk about his last fights. Right? Jeff Horn, who nobody thought he won that. He was a cherry pick going wrong for Manny Pacquiao, right? And nobody thought he won that fight. And then he moves on to Jose Benavidez, who was a blue chip prospect, but he was injured, and people going to use that as an excuse. But I didn't use that as an excuse. But if you was a casual fan, you didn't know who Jose Benavidez was, right? And now he's going to move on to fight Amir Khan, who most people thought that Amir Khan was done, finished, washed, and should have not been stepping in the ring with anybody of that magnitude, let alone with the pound for pound perceived best fighter in the world and is undefeated and the champion. Nobody felt like Amir Khan deserved that opportunity. And then that fight ended in controversy. Yeah, he was getting ready to mentally break Amir Khan like we never saw, but the fact remained it ended in controversy. And now he's going to go on to fight Kavaluskas, who's the mean machine that nobody knows. So you can't compare. It's uncomparable. And so and not to mention, now I know people going to say, well, Earl had Mikey to lift up his pay-per-view status, right? But the facts remain is his one fight on pay-per-view with Mikey Garcia equal to Terrence Crawford's fights on pay-per-view with Victor Postile and his fight with Amir Khan.
That makes a statement.
So you need 2 fights for Crawford to equal one fight with Mikey Garcia. And here's the thing. I know people going to say, well, Mikey Garcia brought the fan base in, so on and so forth. That's null and void. And I'm going to tell you why that's null and void. Then I'm going to give you a reason why it's null and void. Here's the reason. The winner of that fight, right, is going to be the person that's highlighted for the reason why that fight was successful. You look at Floyd Mayweather, who could decipher who brought the most people in when Floyd Mayweather broke the pay-per-view record with Oscar De La Hoya? All we know is Floyd Mayweather dominated and went on to, after that fight with Oscar De La Hoya pay-per-view wise, it broke records. But after that, guess what? He went to break that record. So as far as we know, Floyd Mayweather is the one that carried that fight, the first pay-per-view with Oscar De La Hoya. And he went on to break it again and again and again. So he's the person that won the fight. So guess what? Errol Spence won the fight against Mikey Garcia in a dominating fashion with a guy that came up one weight class, not two. Because arguably 4 of his last 5 was going to be at 140, but they threatened to take his belts away if he didn't go down and fight Robert Easter. Robert Easter was taunting him, and then he went down to 35, fought Robert Easter, and kept his belt, and immediately went right back to 140. Right? So that proved that he wasn't a 35-pounder. He drained himself to get to 35, right? And so he won that fight, and Errol Spence didn't use his size to win the fight. He used his boxing skills to win that fight, and he closed the show. And so guess what? At the end of the day, he's looked at as the pay-per-view star right there. And so now he's going to go into this fight with Shawn Porter that's going to be more successful than the Mean Machine Kavaluskas fight with Terrence Crawford. And his star status, he's leaving. It's not close no more. It's just not close.
Hey, Blue.
Go ahead, brother.
Blue, check this out, man. If I was Al Heyman, I would have that fight between Spence and Porter. I would have it in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
It's the other Hollywood.
Yep.
New York is awesome, but I just don't think that people really realize just how big Atlanta actually is when it comes to professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
You will have people come from out of the woodworks to come see something like that, an event like that.
Yep. And you know something, Money? And then we're going to close it out because I ain't even realize it's 8:30. But, we've been pushing fighters because we know that, the Mexican fan base, the Mexican culture, they have their dates. They have a Cinco de Mayo weekend, and they have Mexican Independence Day weekend. And we've been pushing for this Juneteenth date, and I would love to see those Juneteenth dates, fights take place in Atlanta, in Houston, not Houston, in Texas, Atlanta, and in DC. Chocolate City. You know what I mean? And those be our dates. Just like we got Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence Day weekend. Let's host the biggest fights that we could. Let's have Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence in Atlanta on Juneteenth. That would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. What's your thought, Kurt?
I'm gonna say this, man. Black fighters used to have a strong fan base. Matthew Saad Muhammad in Philadelphia, Marvin Johnson in Indianapolis, Indiana. They supported him. They're gonna ignore the black dollar. I mean, I don't turn into a race issue, but it's not. Because we need the Mexican fan base to uplift boxing, the Canadian fan base, which is always underestimated. They're crazy about their boxing. Irish fan base, England, and the Black American fan base, because we always had the most popular fighters. Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard, they became worldwide phenomenal icons. Mike Tyson, people forget how big he was. But you start with your loyal fan base. Mike Tyson used to fight in Catskills, then he just exploded. Crawford and Spence should be in Atlanta. Atlanta is what we call Black Hollywood for people who don't know. Because of the music and the style and fashion. Atlanta is hot right now. New York don't have that luster like it used to have, but it's all about Atlanta. Or Washington, D.C. is we call it Chocolate City. So I know those areas well, so it will be We could have Juneteenth, do it in the summer. You know, people will flock to see those fighters. They even had the Vernon Forrest and Shane Mosley rematch at the Black Expo in Indianapolis. People forget that. You know, and so you know, blacks are aggressive consumers. You put a match like that in Atlanta, you're gonna have celebrities. You know, hip hop is always a great vehicle to promote the fight, and you'll have a very successful Crawford Spence turnout.
No doubt about it.
I agree. But listen, fellas, let's get some last words in, man. It's 8:30, man. Hey Kurt, man, we said we was gonna go from 6 to 7. Man, we ain't do that yet, man.
Second show, we went 2 hours and a half. You know, that's what it is when we talk this boxing talk, man. Especially when you got great fights coming. So we'll get some last words. I might as well say another great show. Thanks, Money, Blue, and chat. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. Thanks for your time and calling in. And you know, we're going to continue to bring you great boxing talk. You know, signing off, Kurt Sugar. Peace.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Money.
Hey, thanks, Blue. Thanks, Kurt. Hey, man, thanks to the supporting cast out there. Really appreciate everything that you all are doing for us. It's only going to get better from this point on. Fights that are coming up. Hey, just keep them covered. You know, keep the details coming in. It just keeps us the expectations very high. Wait for. I know that none of it's going to be a great fight. But thanks, Blue, for getting this started, man. Seriously.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Awesome.
I appreciate y'all, man. You know, we're gonna make it happen, man. Next week we're gonna have special guests on. So you guys, man, share the streams, man. Share the lives, man. Subscribe to the channel, man. Let everybody know where to come, man, because this is not the big platform. The big channel is on the other channel, but you know, we're gonna build this channel up just like that one is. And but this one's gonna be a special channel. This is where we're gonna do all our live streams. We're gonna do our call-ins. We're gonna have special guests on the show. My interviews are gonna be on this channel. You know, so you know, you guys tune in, subscribe to the channel, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I appreciate everybody in the chat, my peopleizations, man. Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow us on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Road. Make sure you like and share these videos, man. Again, any of the brothers got this link. Drop this link in any of the brothers' chat rooms, you know, so we can get the word out there. We got to get this channel over 3,000 subscribers. I'm gonna put up some more content so that way we can get this in the algorithm and we can get everybody to notice. You know, we're gonna have some real special guests on next week. So stay tuned, man. Next week we're gonna have some real special guests on, man. We're gonna do 2 special guests next week. So make sure y'all stay tuned, tune in, man. And like I said, man, y'all be able to call in. Y'all be able to talk to the special guests. But like I stated before, if you don't call in with no disrespect, whether you like the fighters, the boxers, promoters, referees, whoever it may be, you know, just show respect. That's all we ask, man. But salute to each and every one of y'all. Salute to my co-host, my brother, Kurt Sugar, a.k.a. Kurt Anderson, a.k.a. The Historian. Salute to my brother, Money Powell the Third. That's my brother right there, man. Hey, listen, salute to each and every one of y'all, man. We signing off, man. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast Time. It's 11 p.m. if you're in the UK. Make sure y'all tune in and come to this channel, man. This is where we're going to get it going, man. Salute to each and every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all. Salute. Salute, Kurt. Salute, Money.
Salute.
Peace.
Peace.
Salute, Blue.
Salute, my brother.
Kurt.
All right.